do that little thing as well. Okay, so now that that's doing
I've actually got Minecraft.
Hello.
Oh, sorry, you just caught me playing Minecraft.
Minecraft. Wow.
Yes. As you can, well, you can't tell because all you can see is this weird blue background. But I am currently in the Aethan Cave.
He is in the Aethan Cave tonight.
Aethan's little stronghold, and as he's not here tonight, I've decided. Oh, hello. I've decided to relocate myself into Aethan's little man cave. I'm currently turn myself around that way. I can brighten the screen up. There we go. Sorry, I've actually managed to start up Minecraft. You see that, and I'm standing right next to a pillar next to my Castle Seaton. So that's why the screen's gone dark. But if I turn around and look at my icebergs that are out at sea, there we go.
Hey, now we can see you properly. So that's good. Otherwise, you're just like a Smurf, which was a bit worrying.
No. And the problem is obviously because of these weird, freaky lights above me, and Aethan's got one of those colour-changing light bulbs, and for some unknown reason, he's got it set on some weird pink colour. It's created a weird background. So I put the TV on, and it made me blue.
Ah, yeah, it will do that. It's like the red and the what they call it, the red and blue filters, isn't it?
Yeah,
it always makes
like the red and blue filters.
Way more intense.
The screen when I turned the TV on, the screen went blue. So of course everything.
What's happened? What's somebody screaming at a cat?
One of our cats is running around with a chicken.
Oh no. Oh dear. Hi Samantha and Wayne.
Yeah.
And all at R&S Paranormal team. Hello R&S Paranormal team. It's nice to see you.
The house of a bloody chicken carcass. I'm trying. But he keeps growing.
It would appear.
What a good entrance.
Yesterday evening, we had roast chicken for dinner, and our cat Tippy has decided he wants to help himself to the carcass, even though the carcass was placed in a bag, sealed, air freshened, sprayed air freshener over it, stuck it in another bag, and then tied that up, and then put that in a bin bag, and he could still smell the sodding thing.
So he's decided that that's his for tonight then, has he?
He's decided that's his dinner. What I should have done was sprayed the chicken. Then he'd have probably taken one mouthful and then gone, maybe I won't.
Yeah, so, that was a bad decision. Like,
He's a nightmare because we're feeding him twice a day now. He had some food at 2 o'clock. So he shouldn't be that hungry, but he's obviously now decided that he is.
I apologise.
She apologises.
She apologises. That's all right. You're okay, Ellen. It's all good.
Okay, Minecraft has just gone to night mode, so I'm going to have to lighten up the area a bit. Hang on, if I go indoors.
He's stuck.
There we go. Let me go indoors. That way I can get to a
hey,
torch.
Nick, how are you? Hi, Mandy. Hello, Joe. Hello, Greta. And hello, Nicola, as well. Hello, everybody. It's lovely to have you all with us tonight.
My screen has not come up with anything of how many people are watching.
So Of course, we've got one that's a Facebook user, which I think. So I think that is Reg and Louise.
Or Stuart. No, it won't be Stuart. It'll be Reg.
Reg, Louise, Stuart. Could be any of those three.
It will be Reg. It will be Reg because it says at the bottom, Wayne Seed and Lou is asking, have you eaten all your eggs? So that must be Reg.
Hi, Reg.
I have eaten all my eggs.
There's 6 of us. There was 5 of us. There's now 6 of us. No, it's Stuart.
Oh, lol. Stuart.
Hi, Stuart.
But no, I only got 2 Easter eggs this year.
I got a whole 1 because it's freaking expensive to buy the bloody free from stuff. They're like, we're not buying you very many, and I was like, thank God, because I feel like poo anyway. So not going to be eating much chocolate this year.
But God. No, yep, okay, Stuart. I got 2 eggs, and they were gone by Tuesday.
Yep, mine are all gone as well now. To be fair, so hey, Mandy, nice to see you. You have 7.
I don't tend to leave chocolate hanging around for too long because otherwise the kids eat it.
Yeah, and we did. I'm lucky that I don't have that problem yet.
We did our Easter egg hunt Sunday morning, live Sunday morning, and it was quite amusing. And then the kids decided to hide ours, and I had to go around my garden looking for them. And
I saw your Easter eggy hunt that you did. Luckily, I was too ill to hunt for mine. Luckily, they just handed me it.
Then what I had to do was I had to go for a 6-mile walk just to work off what I was about to eat.
Yeah, that sounds about right, to be fair.
Most people have the food, they eat it, and then they do the exercise afterwards. I don't. I do it the other way around. I have the exercise first and then put the weight back on. It's a bit easier that way.
I just do none. I do no exercise and put on weight. That's what I do. I'm like, it's a good idea.
I want to be like my son Ethan again. He eats so much but never puts the weight on. And I used to be like that when I was his age. I ate till the cows come home, and it was chocolate, biscuits, cakes, you name it, I'd eat it. And I never put the weight on. As soon as I got to about 24, I'd eat a biscuit and I'd blow up like a balloon.
Like Mark keeps like, why is it that I could have just salad and nothing else and still get fat? Like, he's like, my life sucks.
Yeah. Ethan's sister, however, does the complete opposite. She's like me now. She eats a biscuit and she blows up like a balloon. And she's jealous because her brother eats all foods under the sun and doesn't put a single bit of weight on. And you're like, okay. So, you know.
I've just got to look at cake and wham, there it goes straight to the hips.
I won 20 Easter eggs on a raffle. Oh, send one to me, Nicola.
20? Like, literally, like, my reaction to that was just 20? Like, that's a lot of freaking Easter eggs. Like,
yeah.
I'd have to be like, can everybody come round, please, that I know to just grab an Easter egg off me, because otherwise they're going to be here until next year. I have tested positive for Frigitis during lockdown. What's that? Frigitis?
Who?
Oh, Frigitis. Frigitis. It's a joke. Right. Okay. So that's me done for the night. Time for bed.
but anyway, to you viewers out there, we were the original plan was going to be meet the team with Anna and Peter. And we weren't too sure whether it was still going ahead. So we were going to bring in the live feed about cryptozoology. And then we got a reply from Peter and Anna saying they would be able to do it. And then we got another message from them saying, sorry, we can't do it. We're down at A&E. So, of course, by that time, it was too late for me to rustle anything up on the cryptozoology side of things. So we just thought we would come in and have a general chat.
Yeah.
Which sometimes that's nice to just have a chat with everybody.
Yeah, exactly.
It's all
Just
fun,
have
isn't
some
it?
fun for tonight, guys. Right.
Someone did ask a question and it's disappeared now. Where is it?
I've put up one from Mandy that says, "What is the scariest place
Oh,
that
yeah.
you've visited?"
That was the one you just put up.
Mm.
The scariest place I've visited. My ex-wife's house.
Yes, that sounds about right, to be fair.
And then next to that would be the church I got married in. To be honest, I think personally, my own personal opinion, I am scared of churches. I cannot
Really?
stand church. I hate churches. I can't. It's very difficult for me to just walk into a church without a reason. Now, I'll go in there for a funeral and I will go in there for a wedding, and that's it. I refuse to go anywhere near the inside of a church unless I really, really have to. And I think the first time in 26 years, I think I've been into a church was when we recorded the Dunwich episode.
Really? I didn't know that. I thought you were absolutely fine with it, and you just go in, you're like, here I am in church.
No, because I'm dead set against religion.
Mm.
I do not like religion. I hate religion. And I've hated it since, or I've hated, I'm going to put it, well, yeah, I've hated religion since about the age of 5 when my granddad was killed. My nan used to deliberately send us to church on a Sunday after my granddad was killed. And I used to play up something chronic.
Mm.
While the Sunday school teacher was doing the Sunday prayers for all the kids, I'd still have my eyes open while everybody else had their head bows, and I was flicking bits of paper at people and just generally mucking about because I did not want to be there, and I was hoping that they'd kick me out, but it never happened. But
They're like, no, you shall always be Christian, whether you like it.
The thing was, my nan never really went to church that often. She was one of these fine weather church goers. She'd go there if a member of the family had died or something, or it was a wedding or a funeral, similar to what I do now. But as soon as my granddad was killed, she was there religiously every Sunday, regardless. And she sort of took it upon herself to make sure everybody else went as well. And I'm like, no, I'm not having this. I don't believe in God. I turned my back against God when my granddad was killed. My granddad never said boo to a goose. He was a torpedo boat commander during World War II. And he was sent over to the West Indies to clear out gun runners going from South to North America or vice versa. And he spotted a Japanese submarine, which he then notified the Coast Guard and the American Navy, and they blew it up. And the Americans wanted to give him a medal, and the British government wouldn't let him have it. But he was given so much praise for spotting that submarine and sort of chasing after it, keeping an eye on it, so that the Americans could destroy it. And they reckoned that it could have been a second Pearl Harbor. So, my granddad never really sort of had a bad word to say about anybody. And as far as I was concerned, to allow a supreme being to take someone away like him, it didn't make any sense to me. And then I turned my back against everything, and every opportunity I got, I dissed God. And I got expelled from school for 3 days because I wrote a 15-page essay on what a load of rubbish the Bible was and put scientific fact to it. And the headmaster didn't like it, and I got kicked out. So it is what it is. But
I love the way that Mandy agrees with you, by the way, Wayne. She says, living with nuns for 2 years as a child was enough to put me off religion.
Yeah, I mean, the way I see religion is it's not, I don't know how I can put it. I think personally that all religions of the world are not so much believing in one being, but living by a set of rules.
Yeah.
How to conduct yourself towards others and to yourself. Well, you can do that without worshipping a single deity. We've been doing it for thousands of years. You've got the Greek gods, the Roman gods, the Viking gods. You know, throughout history, even before Christianity, there was some form of worship of something.
Yeah.
No matter what religion or cult it was, they worship something. And when you look at the more natural side of things, where you worship the earth and the seas and the winds and the sun and everything else, that has got more pull to it than anything else, because you're worshipping your surroundings, you're worshipping everything that the day brings. And I just can't get my head around the fact that one supreme, so-called supreme being could create everything and then just allow it and just sit back and watch it destroy itself.
Yeah, it's a
I
very
wouldn't want to do that. You know, if you,
I
I mean,
understand free will and everything. Like, you know, give us like free will, and you know, obviously, you know, that obviously had to happen for a reason because, you know, there was the problem is that if you don't give free will to certain sort of beings and stuff like that, then they can't live life, can they? They can't do things by their own accord. And it's all kind of, it's more sort of like you know, you're being controlled, you're not your own person. But if there was a higher being of any sort, in my personal view, they've given us too much free will, because we are actually, he's allowing us to basically destroy his creation, which I think is a bit strange.
Yeah, and I do time. I spend time with Athan doing airfix kits. Now, I'm not going to spend 40 hours putting an airfix kit together, and then once it's been stuck together, painted, and the transfers have been put on, I'm not then automatically going to place it on the floor and then stomp on it. Which is basically what all the, you know, God, Buddha, and all of the other, and Allah, and all the other big deities in the world that everybody worship are sitting back and doing. They're sitting back. They've built this airfix kit, and now they're destroying it, and they're just sitting there and allowing it to happen. And I don't understand why, if someone's going to spend all that time creating it and watching it and nurture it, and bring it forward in society and in the known space, only to just sit back and watch it destroy itself. That's not a god as far as I'm concerned. Couldn't do it. I couldn't sit there and watch my creation destroy itself.
No, I completely agree. And you like, I've watched shows like Supernatural, and I think that some of it has a hell of a lot of weight to it. Because it's as if there's something out there that's telling them what to put into their scripts, in my view. Because a lot of what they've put out there, I just think, yeah, that is exactly how a lot of people feel about this. You know, like where God has basically just stepped away, kind of given everything over to someone else to deal with, like his angels, and just gone, here you go, have all this, I've created it, I'm now going to move on to the next thing that I want to do. You now have to take control of this. But those guys absolutely have no idea what they're doing, and they don't know how to stop the humans from destroying it. So they're just kind of like, well, he's created this thing and we don't know what to do, but, you know, maybe we'll just like go down onto Earth and sort of sort some stuff out. No, can't do that either, because they can't see us. You know, it's just like, God, that went well.
I mean, and like that's just basically answered Joe Mack's question. Do you believe in a higher source? Then the only higher source I believe in is ourselves.
Yeah.
And to be honest, I personally think that when I was doing a bit of research into ufology and the possibility of alien life, and I have come up with a myriad of different equations and theories that really knock most of the general religions to pieces. you know, all, and they're all theories, most of them.
Yeah, but some
And
theories just they seem way more plausible than anything else.
most theories have always also been proven to eventually be fact. Einstein's theory of relativity is now got to be rewritten, simply because Einstein's theory of relativity says you cannot travel as fast or faster than the speed of light. Well, unfortunately, Einstein is now going to be turning in his grave because a company has developed and reckoned that within the next 10 years, there will be an engine built that will do it. And in 15 years' time, that engine will be built and ready for testing.
Exactly.
So basically, that has just whitewashed Einstein's theory of relativity. And it was simple with just the fact that the theory was that to be able to travel as fast as the speed of light, you have to weigh the same as or less than light. Well, light doesn't weigh anything.
Yeah.
So you have to have negative. You have to have negative mass to be able to travel faster than the speed of light.
Came up with that idea. They're like, yeah, you must weigh literally below zero. What?
Yeah. You have, well, it's not classed as weighing below zero. It's classed as weighing negative zero.
Negative. Yeah, exactly. They've been weighing
in physics, it would be negative zero. So you have to then create zero mass to be able to travel as fast as the speed of light, and then negative mass to be able to travel faster. And this is where the theory of wormholes and things came into play. Well, this company apparently now have developed an engine that can actually push a vehicle as fast as the speed of light or faster. And they reckon within 10 years they'll have it built. So with Joe Mack's question, I personally think that things have happened on this planet that have happened for a reason, and something has been behind it. And I personally think the dinosaurs that evolved over millions of years. Oh, there's a knock on the door.
Come in.
Hello.
Hello, sweetie. Hello.
Is she crawling on?
Yeah.
Oh, hello.
Say, hey, guys. Hi.
Hello. It's nice to meet you.
Hi, Sam.
Hi.
Guess what?
See you again.
You're live on Facebook.
There's people watching.
There's people watching.
Say hi, people. Say hi, people.
You don't know. I'm not saying.
I'm just going to smile instead and smell Daddy's eggy part.
Wave and pretend like I'm not here. No.
You're going to go to bed now. Yeah, going to be good. Go to bed.
Goodness, say night to Daddy.
Night, Daddy. Night, sweetie. Sweet well.
Yeah. Say bye-bye. Yeah, say bye-bye.
Say bye. Bye.
Say night-night.
Night, Daddy. Night,
Say
night, Sam. Say night, everybody. Night, everybody.
Bless you. That's so cute.
Night.
So
still going. She's like, no.
So yeah, I mean, the dinosaurs took millions of years to evolve to the stage that they got to before a big asteroid went straight into the planet and wiped most things out. Then it was sort of like it being an extinction event. Everything there has to start from that point onwards. And then, oddly enough, human beings come along, but we haven't been around for millions of years like the dinosaurs were. And look how far we've advanced.
Well, yeah.
We've advanced way quicker than what we should have done. If you put in comparison, the dinosaurs taken millions of years. We've only taken hundreds of thousands of years to get where we are now. You didn't see dinosaurs building brick houses and driving cars. So something must have been put in place that allowed us to evolve as quick as we have. And the fact also remains that out of all the billions of stars there are in the known universe, human ignorance dictates that we're the only one that's just that set point away from the sun with the set amount of elements that can create life. It doesn't work. Mars is on the edge of the Goldilocks zone, and it's proven that there was life on Mars.
Yeah,
so
it's been proven that there was stuff on there.
I think there is up there, not necessarily a higher power, but I am a strong believer in what they call the Star Trek Genesis theory, which is that the dinosaurs were taken out of existence on purpose with the asteroid. They were taken out of the equation. Then something came along, and it only needs to be about 500 years more advanced than us to put the basic genetic stuff onto the planet. And then they've hoofed off again. And now every now and then they come back just to see how the experiment's going. And where needed, they've sort of given a little nudge and gone, here, have this. And all of a sudden someone's gone, hey, look, I've invented this. And next minute, technology's changed, the way of living's changed, the way of life's changed, and the future's changed. So I don't believe in a higher being as such that runs everything. I think there is a higher power, but it's not what we think it is. And even the Catholic Church will admit that, because the Catholic Church have had to have their cardinals into a meeting to try and figure out a way of explaining to their followers where aliens are coming from.
It's just like, well, if they don't exist, then why do they keep on freaking turning up when we least expect it? Like,
but why would the Catholic Church call all their cardinals in and say, look, the truth is coming. We need to prepare our people for when we do get visited by aliens, because for so many thousands of years, we've been telling everybody that God is the only thing in existence along with us. So they have to come out with a story to tell its followers where they came from.
Yeah.
And they've got to do it because the CIA...
It's going to come out. God made them. No, they didn't.
The CIA are just about releasing 13 million UFO reports.
That's a lot of reports.
That's a lot.
That's a lot of reports.
So, although it will be heavily doctored, there will be bits there like names and places and times and things that may be doctored out, but the reports are there for the general public to see. I've seen about 5 of them. And they haven't been that heavily doctored that you can't turn around and say, well, that's bullshit. It definitely happened, So, it's a weird one, but it is a bit of a strange one. I think we need to catch up on some of these questions.
Yeah, so there's been quite a few. So I've put up the first one. So what's the most scariest thing that's happened to you in a location? There's been quite a few. Like
to be honest, the only time I was actually scared at a location was when we went to that Halstead one.
Halstead. Yeah.
When we went to that care home and we had those 2 lads up there, we didn't know how many more of them there were in the area. We just knew those 2 were there, and they were a bit out of their heads.
Yeah, they definitely were not quite. They
weren't quite right. They weren't quite there. But I wasn't scared for myself. I would say I was more scared for your friend that was with us. Being a member of the public, the last thing I wanted was her getting involved with something that she didn't need to get involved in. But in general, on an investigation, I've never really been sort of scared of what's going on. And I think probably the most scariest experience, but so scared the living daylights out of other people, has been when I had the mannequin dummy thrown at me at Harrods Redoubt Fort.
Yeah.
Me, I just burst out laughing because the head fell off. But the other investigator that was in the room with me, she pooped her pants and run off, and left me on my own. I'm like, yeah, see you later.
So, like, what can you do with that? Like, great.
Yeah,
Thanks.
there wasn't much I could do,
No.
but she just decided to up sticks and run, left me there on my own.
Yeah.
It's it's a bit, it's
Even with
difficult.
me, I don't have like there's nothing that I have been through or witnessed on an investigation or on a location so far that has scared me to the point where I would leave or that I don't want to go back there, you know. Like there's been things like you that I've got concerned by. Like I remember that when we were at God, Halstead, there was when we were in the hut, there was quite a negative feeling in there
Yeah.
that we didn't in particularly like, and we did move on from there because we were just like, it doesn't feel fantastic in here. Yeah, but apart from that, I mean, I don't really think that there's been any other time whereby I've felt anything extremely bad to the point where I'd not want to go back or that I don't want to, be in the room at the time. Because as Wayne always says, that's what we're there for. So if we're not going to get very much if we walk away or run away from it. So we tend to just kind of go forwards, and unless it's somebody that's not meant to be there, that we're just like, okay, there's like some randomer just walking around, making noises or throwing stuff at us, then of course then we will leave. But yeah, there's not really been anything else other than normal everyday freaking humans which have been annoying us in the past.
Yeah, I mean, to be honest, I think I wouldn't have said, well, nervous would have been when I first got married, which then turned into relief when I got the divorce papers.
Yeah.
And the only time when I've actually been scared was when I first joined the Royal Air Force back in 1991. I was 17 years old, being sworn in, so I've had to say my oath. And then a week later, I'm having to get on a train in Wivenhoe in Essex. My mum's at the station, and it was almost like watching a war film where the wife is standing at the platform waving goodbye to their husband, and he's leaning out the window in his army uniform waving goodbye back. And it was very much like that with my mum and me. I was on the train waving goodbye at 17 years old, suitcase in my hand, and my mum's there bawling her eyes out on the platform with me waving goodbye to her. And that was a really scary experience for a 17-year-old to just be packing his things into a suitcase and going all the way up to Lincolnshire from Essex on his own to start a whole new life. Well, that was probably the scariest thing I've ever done. There's nothing to do with the paranormal, and the paranormal never scared me.
Yeah, the scariest things tend to be the things that that you're not, I don't want to say that you're not sure of, or it's more like sort of something inside you, isn't it, that kind of tells you that you're not feeling, ready. You're not feeling ready for something. And that's what's scary. That's what's the most scary in life, is something that you're not prepared for, that you have to do. For me, it was kind of like, moving out on my own, first time ever that I've ever been on my own, with my husband, Mark, admittingly. But, it's that sort of scary realization that there's nowhere to turn now and there's nothing to fall back on. You can't just go back to mum and, I mean, admittingly, she does help us a lot still. But, it's that scary moment of like, oh my God, there's nowhere else like to go from here. So to me, that's way more scary than anything we've ever had paranormal wise. Same with Wayne, life struggles is way scarier than anything paranormal.
I agree with you on that one. Things in everyday life are more scarier than the paranormal, even though the paranormal field is still sort of in its infancy. There isn't that much research going on in it, and there should be a lot more. So real life is scarier than the paranormal. I just it's very difficult for me to come across something really that scares me when it comes to the paranormal. You know, I'm sort of pretty free flowing, and like the incident with Halstead, you know, that was scary, but that was scary for a different reason. That was me being scared for the person that was with us and worrying about her safety than our own.
Worried for the fact that these guys have just turned up out of nowhere and have started telling us some very strange story. And then had walked off for like half an hour and then returned back up, and we're just like, hello, how are you? And then they start talking to us about how the place is haunted, and if you turn the lights out, things will happen. And we're like, yeah, the only reason, guys, why something's going to happen is because the lights are out and we can't see you. Like, that's the only reason why anything's going to kick off. Yeah, that was a bit of a poo moment, but
exactly.
Yeah. So, Facebook user has said, what do you think of incubus and succubus? That's Louise, sorry.
Right. Incubus and succubus. They are both male and female demons that are supposedly to rape you during your sleep.
Yeah, they're meant to be the types of demonic possessions whereby they sit upon your chest at night, and that they can sort of rip through different time frames and different worlds, realms, whatever you want to call it, and then they basically like drain life source and stuff like that, and also have sex with you at the same time, which I'm like, cool, fabulous.
They're basically spiritual rapists. I personally don't believe in them. I personally think
I believe that I've had one encounter with somebody that thought that they were being possessed by a incubus, and yeah, it just turned out to be a usual freaking angry poltergeist, to be fair. In my personal experience, because I used to do things like house cleansing and stuff like that in the past before I became a bit spiritually retarded at some point. At one point, unfortunately for me, when I got ill, I couldn't do it anymore, unfortunately, but I do want to help people in that way again at some point when I can. But when I started doing that, there was what I noticed a lot of the time when there was, people thinking that they had demons, or they had, like that you say, succubuses or incubuses. A lot of the time it's just usually poltergeists that have the ability to be able to basically like go into your dreams and manipulate certain situations in your dreams to make you believe that that's what's happening, but it's not actually happening. It just feels very real to you at the time.
Yeah, I mean, most of the reports I've read where the claim has been made that an incubus or a succubus has been present, a lot of the cases I've read have been a bad case of sleep apnea. And we know sleep apnea can take many forms, but one of the most common forms is a shortness of breath and motionless of the body. The thing is when you go to sleep, your body automatically shuts down. The body itself, motion-wise, stops functioning, but the vital organs continue to work. When you come out of sleep, the deep sleep, or is it REM sleep? I think it is. When you come out of that, your body is starting to wake up. Now, the problem is if you are woken suddenly during the night, your brain, people that suffer with sleep apnea, their brain does not communicate with the rest of the body to say, it's time to wake up, guys.
Yeah,
and so your eyes open, and your brain is going, but your body isn't moving. Your body is motionless. And so they panic, and that brings on the shortness of breath, because their brain is telling them, why aren't you moving? Why aren't you moving? Because it hasn't told the rest of the body to wake up yet. And so a lot of people seem to think they're being pinned down by an unseen force. They're short of breath. No, because you're panicking too much. And that's part of sleep apnea can take hold really easily.
Yeah,
And it's
agreed.
down to that individual to figure that one out. And there was a case where one guy had sleep apnea where he was dreaming and his body didn't switch off properly.
Mm.
He did the opposite. His brain was working and his brain forgot to switch off the motor neuron side of it. So his body was still able to move. And apparently in court, he told the judge that he had a medical condition where his body didn't switch off during sleep. And the judge said, right, so what were you dreaming? And he said, I dreamt that we had a burglar in the house and I caught him and I was strangling him. When they checked with his doctor, the doctor turned around and said, here's the medical reports. He has been diagnosed with a rare form of sleep apnea where his body doesn't switch off. And as a result, he was let off of murdering his wife.
Whoa.
During his dream, the burglar that he had caught and was strangling in real life was actually his wife. And he'd strangled her to death, thinking it was the burglar. But he got let off on a medical technicality because he suffered from this rare form of sleep apnea. The judge turned around and said, you've got to live this the rest of your life. You know it was an accident. We now know it was an accident. And they let him go. So, you know, I personally think with a succubus and an incubus, a lot of that is sleep apnea, or like Sam says, it's like a poltergeist wanting to get your attention. I don't believe in demons personally. I just think they are just restless spirits rather than demons.
Yeah, you gotta really freaking like talking, you know, a lot of people will say, I've encountered a demon or there's a demon here. Everything, especially sorry for anybody that's in America that watches this, by the way, but a lot of people in America think that demons are, you know, the usual type of spirit that seems to just come out of nowhere. In America, it seems. Everything is a demon over there. And for me, it can be quite not upsetting, a little bit kind of worrying that so many people think that there's so many demons everywhere in the world. I'm like, damn, that, you know, hell has opened somewhere. There's got to be some hell mouth or something. This is now turning into Buffy the Vampire Slayer. But it's just not possible because you've really got to go some to find yourself a demon, like a serious one that, you know. And the thing is if you've got a demon, you first of all, you bloody know about it, because a lot of the time you're not going to probably survive it. So it, yeah, no.
I mean, I can speak from experience, and Mike's just raised the point as well about having sleep paralysis. Until he understood it, he was quite freaked out by it. And mine's the opposite. For ages, I thought I had a bad case of gout in my foot. Turns out, no. Ellen discovered what the answer was, and a doctor could not even answer it. But Ellen's answer is much more understandable, and I prefer that answer. Ellen came down the stairs one day and said, I think I've discovered why your toes hurt so much, or your big toe hurts so much. It's not gout. So I thought, well, what do you mean? So she frog marched me up the stairs into the bedroom, and there on the wall was loads of dents and paint chippings on the wall.
Yeah. So
what do you mean? She said, you were kicking the living daylights out of the bedroom wall last night. So now I can only sleep.
Running up the wall.
I can only sleep on my right hand side. I know it's coming up on camera as my left, but I can only sleep on my right hand side, and that is facing the wall, which is the darkest point in the room. And the problem then is whatever I'm dreaming, I'm acting out with my legs and my hands. And for God knows how long, I think it must be about 2 or 3 years, when it was first mentioned that I'd had gout, that it turned out that I was actually kicking the wall, and the force of me kicking the wall was damaging the knuckle in my toe.
Ow.
Which is where gout collects. the uric crystals in gout collect at the knuckle joints of the toes. So of course, there's me thinking it was gout, and the doctor said ease off for drinking, ease off for tomatoes. So I'm like, well, I don't drink, so that's all right there. But I've got to ease off my favourite foods, which is tomatoes and Italian pasta dishes.
Yeah,
You know,
exactly.
I'm
You're
like,
no,
my
no.
favourite, I love tomatoes, and you're telling me to knock that fruit on the head. I weren't having it. Now it turns out I can say, yeah, I can eat as many tomatoes as I like now because it's not gout that caused it. So I'm quite happy with it. But that's a sort of like a funny side of having a sleep apnea issue. You know, I've decided that I'm going to redecorate by extending the size of the window by putting my foot through the wall.
Just like
I think this
fine.
window could do with being a bit wider, but I can't be bothered to do it while I'm awake, so I'll just leave myself to do it while I'm asleep. You know, see the logic in that, but
hurts in the morning, but at least it's something. It's fine.
Oh, does it hurt? It's unbelievable.
Yeah,
it really hurts.
You've been sitting there for so long, like, I've got gout, it hurts so bad, and now you're just like, well, it was not gout, it was just me picking things.
Yeah. Doctors are saying you've got gout, ease off tomatoes, ease off alcohol, and you'll be fine. So there's me following a strict diet, drinking plenty of water, staying away from tomatoes, staying away from alcohol.
Oh, yeah.
Only to find out I've been trying to boot a hole in the wall.
Yeah.
So for the last 3 years, I've been on a no tomato diet, no alcohol diet. And for what?
It's just
what I've done now, I've combated this one, and I've put a pillow right where I've been booting the wall. So at least now it softens the blow.
Right, I'm going to leave you guys just for a second to talk to Wayne while I get my my charger, because for some reason my phone has decided to have a moment and it won't charge on this one. So
well,
actually,
before I comment on Joe's comment, Greta actually come out with a comment, but how do we know what a dinosaur sounded like when we've never seen them? The problem is we had fossils, and going by the fossils, they knew roughly what they looked like, and judging by their throats and how big the vocal cords would have been from them fossils, they would have a rough idea on what they sounded like. Oh, excuse me. Joe, what about if we started from a DNA from an alien? Well, this is what I mean by the Star Trek Genesis theory, is that, you know, the dinosaurs got wiped out. They were the previous inhabitants of this planet, and they were around for millions of years. And then there was an extinction event which wiped them out, apart from a few species. Then all of a sudden, we come along, and it took hundreds of thousands of years to get to the stage we're at now. So the theory there is that something put a new strains of DNA or new genetic codes onto this planet to create us, because we've evolved so much faster than the dinosaurs did. So I personally think there has to be something in that, simply because we've evolved a hell of a lot faster than what the dinosaurs did.
Sitting on the floor.
And then catching up slightly, Joe says, is that like dogs when they're asleep, they still try to run? Yep, pretty much. Their brain hasn't told their body to switch off. And then Mike says, I get sleep paralysis. Really used to freak me out till I understood it. Isn't that sleepwalking, Joe says? Well, sleepwalking is a form of sleep apnea. I have had that before. Where I have gone to sleep and I have woken up half a mile away at a local adventure playground. This happened when I was about 9, and I woke up on the adventure playground slide in just my pajamas. And I thought, what the hell am I doing here? And walked home again. Very bizarre, but it's never happened since. So, touching wood, I hope it never happens again. So, and a good evening, Kevin.
Hi, Kevin. How are you? How is everybody that is here at the moment? I mean, we've got 5 people watching, so that's always a good sign. Hi, guys.
Yes.
Is there any other questions that you guys want to ask us about the paranormal while we're here? Or do you want to ask us just, I don't know, you could even ask us personal, well, not personal questions, but
Yeah,
life questions.
Oh, there's a
Not
sheep
nothing
trying to
too
get in my
personal.
house.
Huh?
There's a sheep trying to get in my house.
Oh, no.
Get out. Oh,
Oh,
wrong button.
I hope it's on Minecraft, because if it isn't on Minecraft, that's quite worrying.
Yeah, no, it is on Minecraft. I'm right in the foyer of my castle, and the sheep's just tried to get in through the front door because I left it open.
Oh, God damn it. Damn those pesky Minecraft sheep.
Yeah, well, I'm quite certain that. Oh Christ! I've just chucked my door away. I'm quite certain Nathan let a zombie into my swimming pool earlier on, so I've got to get rid of that. I've got to get rid of that at some point.
Damn those zombies as well. Yeah, those things are freaking creepy. Ugh.
But that's what happens when you leave your son to play on Minecraft. You walk out, and then when you come back, you'll find he's just spawned a herd of zombies in your living room, you know, and you're like, thanks for that. I've now got to get rid of them. The worst one's the creepers. When he materializes a creeper in your building, you've got to be careful how to get rid of that, because if you're in the wrong mode, it blows up and you have to rebuild your house. So
yeah, they just try and make things 10 times harder for everybody. It's just like, God damn it.
Hello, my phone's freaking out. I've got no one's Facebook logos coming up. The profile pictures. I've got no one's profile pictures coming up now. They're gone.
Oh, sorry, everybody. You're now faceless. Like, Facebook has just decided, nope. Sorry.
I've got names, just not faces.
Well, that's a good sign. At least we've got some names.
But no, I mean, I think it's, you know, it's weird that you get the things like how evolution has gone so fast. You know, when you look at all of a sudden boost in technology like we've had with mobile phones, you know, to go from the 80s with breeze blocks down to things that are on your wrist and eventually something that's in the palm of your hand or in your side of your ear. The technology has boosted so fast. So why weren't dinosaurs given that opportunity? There had to have been a difference.
They have little arms.
Yeah, but they couldn't reach the rear.
They're like, okay, trying to get to the mobile phone.
That reminds me, I've got to phone home.
Yeah,
I can't reach home. No.
Can you imagine them like smacking the phone, like trying to turn it on? God damn it.
But the thing is when you look at it, dinosaurs had been around for so many hundreds of times longer than we have, and yet they never evolved much.
No.
So what was it that caused our evolution to be so much faster than theirs?
I don't really know. I think for me personally, I think one of the explanations that I've got is possibly that we did actually come from the monkey or chimp family. So they kind of had that evolution there already. Well,
yeah, I mean that's obviously
there, but I don't know.
But that's Charles Darwin, isn't it?
Yeah.
You know, we evolved from apes. When we go back through our timeline, we evolved from apes, but then apes had to evolve from something else. So you go back through their timeline to see how they evolved to that stage. And then when you go right the way back, you're going right the way back to the primordial soup. Now, before that primordial soup was the mass extinction event, and before that was the dinosaurs. We basically reset once that extinction event happened. Everything reset itself and started again from fresh. So what change was there in that extinction event? Now, a lot of the theories are that in that asteroid was the genetic changes needed to create our evolution.
Yeah, I mean
So
that's a big
basically what
possibility.
that's
It would
saying,
make sense.
what that theory is saying is that we are the aliens. The genetic makeup was already here. And when the asteroid hit, it brought along new genetic makeup so that when the asteroid wipes out the previous life, the new life was able to form from the new genetic makeup mixed up with what was left from here. So the theory is there, and the theory is looking a lot more favourable than any other theory out there.
Yeah, very true.
Because we know for a fact now that there was life on Mars. There may not be life there now, but there was life. And if you go back 60, 70 years, everybody poo-pooed the idea. They turned around and said, don't be stupid. There's no life on Mars, never has been, never will be. But now they've proved that there was bacteria on that planet at some point. Now, bacteria is life, regardless of how small it is.
Yeah. Well, it's
It was
all
still
those
life.
things. It's organisms that created dinosaurs and ourselves and everything. We're all from
Exactly.
that. So,
We all came from a primordial soup. Now, that primordial soup would have formed on Mars in a different way, but the Mars's ecosystem broke down before anything, as far as we're aware, Mars's ecosystem broke down before anything could evolve into intelligent life that we know of.
exactly.
You know, and they said there's no water on the moon. There's nothing on the moon, but there is. There is actually a gravity on the moon, and there is water on the moon.
Well, they also said at one point that there were certain planets that didn't have weather, but they do. So that failed miserably for them, didn't
I was
it?
going to say, I hope they didn't say that about Jupiter, with that one that's been raging for millions of years.
Yeah, could you imagine? That would be great, wouldn't it? It's just like, yeah, there's no weather on Jupiter, even though there have been.
Well, it's like us. We give our storms names, don't we? And every year we change the
Yeah.
list of names to give them A to Z. And on Jupiter, and that's the same one. They haven't even had the chance to go to the letter B yet. It's still on letter A.
Yeah, it's just still
like,
going.
Storm Andrew's on its way back round. Should be here in a couple of days' time.
Yeah, just like here it comes again.
Yep. How many times has that been round now? Oh, only about 658 million times.
It's just like, damn that Andrew.
Do you think we should move? You know, it's June in a couple of days' time.
Exactly. Do you think we should just move a little bit to the left?
Just leave the
Maybe we'll
boards
be
up on
able
the
to
window
avoid
all
it
year
this time.
round. Just leave it at that.
Yeah. God. Yeah, you've got to
mental.
love these things because it's just, I don't know, a lot of theories and stuff like that. It all comes down to, you know, science in a few, I don't know, even if it's like 50 years, it will change again, you know, and it'll be like,
Yeah.
well, we've now figured out something else that completely has thrown us off, which means that we've been completely wrong about everything for the last 100 years. And yeah,
Exactly.
great.
I mean, if there is truth in this so-called engine that everybody's talking about, will actually be released, that is going to prove so many different things. And there's an American company now. I can't remember the official name of it, but I think it was like an AC2 or AC3 was supposed to be the new Concorde. And it is supposed to be able to fly from London Heathrow to New York in an hour and a half.
Well, that would be good. Could you imagine how much that's going to cost?
Well, when you look at Concorde, you know, when that was first developed in the late 60s, and then came into service, you know, how many hours was that? It was about 3.5, 4 hours to get from here to New York.
Yeah, that's true.
So using today's technology, it wouldn't be surprised if someone developed a form of Concorde that actually could do it quicker. You know, it's all about propulsion and aerodynamics, and if that works, there's no reason why not. But then when you look back at, and I remember it from the 70s and the 80s, where you watch a science fiction program, and they've got these rockets that land. You know, they take off vertically, and then they come in backwards and land vertically. And now look what Elon Musk has done.
Yeah.
You know, people watch these things and they go, yeah, right, that ain't going to happen, is it? But now look what Elon Musk is doing. He's using reusable booster systems and a heavy rocket system that can land itself, be refueled and reused. We wouldn't have thought of that 40 years ago. But now all of a sudden we're doing it.
It's just like, well, here we are. It's possible.
It just proves the point. You know, that all theories are there, and they're always going to remain theories until someone proves them wrong. And science is constantly evolving, just like human beings are. And eventually it gets to the stage where the theories that were just theories are no longer theories, they're fact.
Very true.
Very true indeed.
So,
you know,
do you guys have any other questions?
I was going to say, I think Kevin's just knocked all the chat room on its head.
Just come in and it's like, no.
Kevin says hi, Wayne, and then the chat room just goes blank. I've got no comments after Kevin.
No, me neither. Is there
What's going on?
There? Can you see us?
Do we have any viewers?
Yeah, I mean, we do. I know that we have 5 viewers, but I don't know if any of them are
Does that mean we have to go on to karaoke?
Yeah, we may have to do karaoke, and that would just be the end.
At the time of my life.
No,
Dire Straits, Walk of Life, Wonderful Life by Black. That's it. Oh, Chris Rea's Driving Home for Christmas, because I've got the perfect voice for that.
Yeah. And then there's like, yeah, no, you won't. None of you want to hear my voice. You really don't.
No, you can't see me shaking my head, Sam.
No. Oh, now I can. You took away the hand too soon. Yeah. So, is there anyone that wants to give us a question or just talk a little bit about anything else?
Fire away. Give us your subjects and we'll tell you about them.
Subject that you want us to talk about, and we will do that. And until then, we are just literally going to just sit here like a bunch of lemons.
Blah 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 blah.
Yeah, like Wayne's just going to be sitting here trying to get a sheep out of his Minecraft house.
No, the sheep's gone.
And I'm going to be sitting here trying to get my cat out of my waste paper bin because yeah, like literally this is currently my cat. Like,
I've just discovered a llama on my roof. Or an alpaca.
Did you say an alpaca?
Yeah, I'm riding the bloody thing. What's going on? Get off.
Good time.
It's bloody llama. Oh, yeah, it's definitely an owl. I just killed it. Get off me roof. There we go. Oh, no, it's still alive. Hang on. I'll drown him. Hang on. Yeah, I don't condone that action, anybody, you know, just see bloody thing swimming now. You know. Will you die, you sodding alpaca? There we go. Yeah, I don't condone killing alpacas, by the way, people.
No.
It was dancing about on my roof.
Because in Minecraft this was allowed for some reason. I don't know why they do that.
Killing animals acceptable. Well, actually, it's acceptable because they're classed as farm animals, and you have to have them as to be slaughtered.
Yeah. So. It's like such a weird game, Minecraft.
I love it. It's the best game in the world. I love it. Well, I say best game in the world. I love it. I haven't gotten the chance to play Call of Duty yet. Do you know what? I've ended up in
I'm
SeaWorld.
I'm wanting definitely to play Assassin's Creed Valhalla at some point. That's for certain. That's going to be one of my ones to play.
I used to play that quite a lot, Assassin's Creed, and then I stopped playing it. Right, here we go. Look, welcome to SeaWorld.
Oh, yeah.
I've got my little underground water tunnel. There's my big iceberg there. That's my iceberg. That's my little escape route from my house, just in case Ethan put zombies in there. And this is my little underwater tunnel that takes me back in to the beach house, which is up there somewhere.
Floki, stop walking backwards, please, mate.
So we've got that there, and I stopped there for some reason. I didn't build anything else. My tunnel stops here because I haven't done my stairs yet.
I've got a tunnel that goes to nowhere.
Yep, a tunnel that goes to nowhere because I haven't had the chance to build it yet because Ethan takes over, and I just get annoyed and I stop playing it. So, but other than that, I will get there and finish it off eventually.
That would be good.
Right, apparently, Mandy has just messaged me saying there's comments, but keeps saying error occurred. We still commenting though. Oh, Sam, it's you, I reckon. You've pressed something and you've messed it up.
You know what's weird though is that there's nothing. There's nothing on here that is coming up saying that I've pressed anything or that there's anything that's wrong. It's just literally just stopped.
Yeah.
So if you guys are still watching this, I am extremely sorry, but for some reason, StreamYard and Facebook don't seem to be linking now for some reason.
Well, no, because Mandy says there are comments, but it keeps saying error occurred, and they're still commenting.
That must be a Facebook thing then. So that's a Facebook thing. So they're still commenting, but they're not coming up like error. They're just coming up as errors.
Yep.
Because this has been happening a hell of a lot again over on Facebook platforms over the last sort of few days.
So if as you started the live, if you came out of it and then came back in again while it's still live, would that reset it?
I have no idea. I mean, I can give it a go and see.
It's worth a go. If not, we just restart the live feed.
Yeah, if not, then guys, we will just restart it. Hang on just a second. I'm going to see if I can come out.
All messages are coming up error. So we're going to try and sort something out. Was that just your camera?
Yeah, I have. See, from here, I have to.
Oh, hello. Is it? Oh, it's just me. Sam's gone. Ah! Help. And then you're back.
I've come back.
There
I've come
we go.
Back. I can now see the comments. Some destinations comments. Yeah, that's fine. Okay.
All I've got as far as Kevin's comment. Oh, hello. See, I'm a genius, me.
Yeah, there you go. It has worked. So coming in and out does work, so that's good. My hobby plays the originals Assassin's Creed. You guys has frozen. Facebook has been having some problems recently. Other people have actually said that there have been problems. I've also had problems with actually just sending usual everyday messages. They just decide not to go through at the moment as well. So Facebook has definitely been having some problems. I love the they always sing Mamma Mia.
Well, here we go, Nicola. Here's a little bit of history, a bit of my past. For 6 years, I used to be in a band, a duo, and we used to tour locally. We were known as Past and Present. and everything we did were all cover versions. And this is going to be the embarrassing bit. I was keyboards and lead vocals, and I used to sing everything from Barry White to Michael Jackson, and basically all sorts. Robbie Williams, Dire Straits, Chris Rea, you name it. I near enough had to sing it, which is a bit of an embarrassing history there.
Well, I remember that, was it Reg? I think it was Reg that said that no, I think it was Peter and Anna that said that they were going to get us to do karaoke at theirs when we go over there. And I was like, uh-oh, they don't want me. I mean, Peter said, no, Sam, I need Anna to hear you sing, because I was like, yeah, no, I'm pretty certain that you don't want that. Like, I mean, the thing is, I've got a good singing voice, but it's in usually quite high notes that nobody can hear unless you're a dog. So, people don't want to hear that. FB is acting up. FB. So there you go, Joe. It's only just come through to me now. StreamYard was still going, because StreamYard is obviously a place whereby we can just see each other, but I think that was just me and you, Wayne, and not anyone else. No one else could see us because Facebook was actually fully down. I
think the problem is with well, that's a little bit better. There we go. The problem is obviously StreamYard is a different platform to Facebook. So when you actually use StreamYard, you then broadcast from StreamYard to Facebook. Same as what we do with YouTube as well. So we're currently running live on Facebook and YouTube. If Facebook has issues, then the live stream will only go out through YouTube, while Facebook tries to catch up with itself and sort the problem out.
Yeah.
So I think Facebook have got an algorithm problem there somewhere.
Yeah, they definitely.
We can see you now, Mandy.
Yeah, Mandy, both Mandys and Joe and Reg and Nicola, and Greta, and also Louise as well, who sent through a comment. We can see all you guys now. I'm very sorry for the fact that it just decided to just die on us there. Love you, Facebook. You're so great. Like, really, really happy that Mark Zuckerberg has created this amazing non-sociable platform. Like, it's gone really well. Like, social media, they call it, and you can't freaking socialize with anyone. It's done well, hasn't it? I like the theory we have been guided for hundreds of years, like the wall paintings and carvings that look like aliens in glass.
But this is the thing. You see, this is why I don't believe in the likes of a singular god. Simply because when you look at the likes of the Incas, the Aborigines, they all predate Christianity, and yet they have paintings and carvings that outdate Christianity, and they depict things like helicopters, man wearing space helmets, things like that, things that couldn't have possibly existed without there being an external source.
Now, there's actually something that I want to ask you, Wayne. I've been wanting to ask you this since I watched it at my mother's the other day. So I was watching something called Strangest Things or something like that. I don't know if you've heard of that.
Stranger Things?
There's Stranger Things, which is an amazing TV series, by the way, guys. But this is called Stranger Things, or Strangest Things.
We weren't paid to say that, honest.
No, we weren't. Yeah, no payment here. But it was all about sort of, things that you find, like relics that you find and things, and explanations from scientists and things for things that we think for, hundreds of years. Like, you see things, in a cloud, or you see Jesus in toast or something like that, and they're trying to explain as to what you're actually seeing. And there was this tablet that they had taken from ancient Egypt. Was it ancient Egypt, or what? I think it was ancient Egypt, and they said that there seemed to be a helicopter that was etched into the tablet, but then they have taken this from the tomb of a pharaoh, and when the Pharaoh died, his son then wanted to take over and basically wanted his name to be etched and carved over everything that the dad had, because he was an egotistical little so-and-so, as they put it. And because of that, he then got everybody to etch with his name over everything. So then it looked like he had done all of the accomplishments, not his father. And what they had amounted this down to, after like sort of using x-ray sort of things and things like that, is that part of the actual tablet had came away from itself, and the underneath etching that was there originally and the one that was over the top had kind of like coincided with one another in a way, and the bit that had fallen away had left behind the pattern of what looked like a helicopter in our eyes, but it really was just two etchings over like on one carving sort of thing. And I was like, okay, so this is what your theory is. So you're now telling everybody that what we're seeing when we go to these tombs and the pyramids and stuff isn't actually what we've all been thinking it was, whereby we're looking at it and we see something like a helicopter or something like a TV or telephone or something like that, or a light bulb was the other one that they were talking about. And they said that, you know, it looks like a light bulb because it was this massive thing with the element on the inside and then a wire that was coming around and wrapping around the legs of this tall pharaoh guy. And they were like, no, that isn't anything to do with any of that. This is like wind. It's like classified as wind. So the actual light bulb part itself was what they said was the air. And then the element on the inside was a snake coming out of a flower at the bottom of the light bulb. And then the water was like the sort of the wave at the bottom, which looked kind of like a wire to me.
Yeah.
And to everyone else, which is why people said, hey, this looks very much like it is a light bulb. And, you know, the Egyptians have, you know, they had light bulbs or something and they worship light or whatever. And they're like, no, it's nothing to do with that. It's just literally, you know, this is the carving and the symbol of air, earth, the snake, you know, and blah, blah, blah. And I was like, is it though? It looks very much like a giant light bulb, my friend. Like, these are so-called scientists, you know, trying to give explanations of what these carvings actually do mean. Yeah. And I'm like, I don't know. So I don't know what your view on that is, because I know that you're very much into that sort of side of things as well.
Well, again, this is the thing that at the end of the way it is viewed is that obviously these drawings and paintings have been around for a hell of a lot longer than most faiths have been around.
Yeah, exactly.
So, you know, it's difficult simply because, like I say, they predate all these popular belief systems. So how did they get there? Why did they get there? And who put them there?
Exactly.
You know, if you look at art itself, art is composed of images that someone either imagines or sees. So take John Constable. He did landscapes and he parked his butt about 6 miles away from here and he painted the landscape of the Dedham Vale in a lot of his famous paintings. So what were these Aborigines doing? What were the Incas doing when they actually, and the Egyptians, when they actually scribed on the walls and painted on the walls of what looked like Apache helicopters, UFOs, men wearing space helmets? Were they imagining these things or did they actually see them? Pretty far-fetched to imagine something like that, especially when you look back now that, you know, thousands of years later, we have got something that looks very similar to what someone carved into a wall thousands of years ago. Seems a bit strange.
Yeah,
So
exactly.
were they in receipt of a time slip, or were they genuinely visited by aliens?
Yeah,
So
because, you know, saying about sort of, you know, oh yeah, but you know, Pharaoh had died and then his son took over and took over the wall carvings and wanted his stuff carved into it instead of his father's. I was like, that still doesn't quite uh like give any explanation as to why there's a freaking light bulb in the next one. You know, like it's all good, fine and dandy, like that helicopter that you think that, you know, that could be the possibility of erosion over time. You know, and one scribed over the other, and it's one has fallen into the other, and it's made it look like something else. That's fine and dandy, but the one where it's all completely intact, which they still don't 100% understand, and this one woman thinks that she knows everything, we're not quite sure yet. And I don't know, it just all seems a little bit far-fetched to me, you know, because I just think to myself, there's so many carvings out there whereby it's as if they have predicted things that haven't happened yet, you know.
yeah,
And I'm like, how can it be that all of these people back then apparently are wrong to you guys? Like,
well, exactly. I mean, they can't be that wrong, can they? Because obviously, um, people are all standing there and going, well, you know, what is this and what is that? When the images are on the walls and they've been there for thousands of years.
exactly.
So there's got to
That's
be
one of the
something in it.
Yeah, because there's got to be, you know, there's if there's an explanation, it's got to be a bloody good one. because
Yeah.
because they have been there long before any of you, those guys that are scientists now, were born. So it's definitely, you know, interesting to think that
Yeah.
these individuals who are scientists, who call themselves scientists, are trying to sort of, you know, poo-poo the fact that the Egyptians knew a lot more than them, when they were around a hell of a lot longer than they probably were.
Yeah.
You know,
Right.
and they're just like, it's all a bit silly. I don't know.
Okay.
It just doesn't make sense to me.
Right, we're going to come away from UFOs because
Yeah.
I've just been doing a little bit of peeking. In answer to Lou's question, what is the satanic eye? Now, there is no such thing as a satanic eye.
No, there's not. You're correct.
There is no such thing. In the occult, there are only two eyes, and that is the Eye of Horus, which comes from the ancient Egyptians, and the Eye of Providence, or the all-seeing Eye of God, which comes from the Catholic iconography. And the Eye of God within a triangle representing the Holy Trinity and surrounded by holy light representing his omniscience or omniscience.
Yeah.
So as far as the occult is concerned, there is no such thing as the satanic eye. However, there is also what they may call it, the ones you see on the boats, isn't it? I can't remember what they call it now.
I know the
no, you know, on the boats, in likes of Turkey and Greece and Italy.
Yeah,
They
yeah.
have,
I know
they
the
have their
ones
eyes on the boats, don't they?
Yeah.
I'm trying to think of what they call them.
Oh, that's going to bug me. If any of you guys know what it is, please tell us. But yeah, I know the ones that you mean. The only sort of thing that I can say to Louise's question of what we think about the satanic eye, like you said, there is no such thing as a satanic eye, but there was quite a number of years ago, when there was a guy that created the first ever satanic cult and the Satanic Bible, which kind of got a little bit out of hand, with a lot of individuals thinking that Satanism was all about the devil, which it is not. And they did have an eye that was a symbol that the guy that created the first ever satanic cult did have. He did have a symbol which included an eye, but it's not really known as a satanic symbol, if you get what I mean. It's because I don't know whether you guys know what Satanism actually is or what it means. But if you do, then absolutely fantastic. If not, then I can educate some of you on that a little bit, because I know a little bit about that, mainly because of my past. When I was young, I thought it was cool. It's not cool. Let's put it that way. But yeah, I've also came across a hell of a lot of people that were into Satanism through my years of doing a alternative modeling and stuff like that. There's a lot of people that really are into Satanism, but Satanism is actually the belief of yourself as a god. It's not believing in Satan in itself. The guy that originally created this came up with the idea that we should all believe as ourselves and in our lives as gods and goddesses, and it kind of revolves around the idea that we ourselves are in control of our own lives, and therefore we are allowed to do as we want when we want, and we should not have any like queries or need to give any explanation as to why we do what we do in our lives as humans. So it's kind of a bit of a selfish way of looking at things. It has a bit of a morbid sort of outlook, as if, you know, say that somebody decides that they're going to kill someone and they're a Satanist, they think that they are in their right to do it, which is a bit weird and not quite what I believe in. And I'm sure a lot of you guys that are watching this right now probably think that that is a little bit crazy, but that is actually what they do believe. They believe that if somebody, one of the girls which I knew who was a Satanist, she said, you know, if I want to have 4 husbands and I want to have kids with all of them and I want to cheat on all of them, I should be able to do that, and it's well within my right to, because I'm a Satanist and I believe that I'm a goddess, and therefore I control my own life, so I'm allowed to do as I want to. And you know, admittingly, this individual, this model that I had on board, did not last very long with the Portrait X, because we didn't get on very well, because she was a very selfish individual and very what do they call it, self-absorbed, you know, couldn't see anybody else's view, didn't like anybody else's view, and it was her way or the highway. And the guy that created it was very much a sociopath, and that was proven later that he was a sociopath. So when you're looking at Satanism, it's a made-up religion from a sociopath. So that is what Satanism really is. Devil worship is a completely different ballgame. So yeah, I thought I'd educate you guys on that a little bit tonight, that Satanism is not devil worship. So there we go. You now have had a little insight into that. Can you actually sell your soul to the devil? From Stuart. I mean, the best person to ask about this would probably actually be Peter Ling next week, because he's a demonologist. So he's a qualified demonologist, so he will know a little bit more about that. But personally, I don't think it's possible to sell your soul to the devil. I don't even know if the devil is even a real entity. So I don't think it's possible to sell your soul to the devil unless you actually, I think it's possible that you could kind of convince yourself that another entity is the devil, and therefore you sell yourself to that, and then it becomes one of those sort of situations whereby it ends up kind of like, like when you give people sometimes say in spirituality that you should never give a name to a demon, or you should never give a name to a poltergeist, because then it kind of makes them more powerful. It's kind of very similar to that. I believe that you can, with poltergeist activity or a demonic force, you can kind of give them more power by believing that you can sell your soul to them. But I don't think that it's actually selling your soul to the devil himself, if you get what I mean. I don't know what Wayne thinks on that, but that's kind of the take on it.
I personally don't believe in any of that stuff. I don't believe in the devil.
No, me neither. I've never really believed that there's one entity that's dark or one entity that's light,
I think selling your soul to the devil is just a figure of speech.
Yeah.
I don't think you can physically and actually sell your soul to the devil. I think you are living up to a saying where someone has said you're selling your soul to the devil, meaning you're going to do something that you have been advised not to do, and you're going to go ahead and do it anyway.
Yeah, it's basic. I think it's kind of a Christian's way of saying, you've done something bad, or you're looking or wanting to do something bad as an urge, and it's a bad urge, yet you're still going to go ahead and do it. Therefore, you're going to hell. I think that's probably more likely.
I've got two other things to add to Lou's comment about the satanic eye.
Yeah, go for it.
And that is the only other occult symbol that has the eye is the Illuminati. The eye of the Illuminati, which is a pyramid with an eye in the middle of it. Obviously, we know
the one I was thinking about earlier.
Most of us pretty much know about the eye of the Illuminati anyway, which is just a bizarre, freaky, dominating organization. But there is also another eye which appears a lot in everyday life, and some people call it a luku, which is in Maltese, and basically what it is it's the eye, or what people had called the evil eye, but it's not. It's an eye of good luck. And the Romans, Greeks, and Chinese, and most of Asia use it. And they actually paint or carve these eyes on boats. Greeks use it in jewelry a lot, so do the Turks. And basically what it was a way of calling upon the gods and goddesses to guide their boats. And they believed that carving the eyes and wings, or sometimes a full body, would bring them luck. And if they listened, they'd not be shipwrecked, and boat would see around obstacles. So basically, it was just a way of
protection.
Yeah, it was a form of protection for the boat. Superstition reigned supreme, and they believed that having the eyes there were a sign of good luck rather than an evil object or something to be scared of. And the term the evil eye comes from typical Christianity.
Everything bad comes from Christianity. So Reg has asked us earlier, have you ever had an aggressive experience? Ooh, aggressive. Sorry, that sounded a bit weird.
I've had a couple.
I've definitely. Are you being silly again? Are you being silly again with your your silliness? That doesn't make any sense. I thought it frozen like that. I thought it frozen you like that, and I was like, oh no, how do I get that to go now? But it wasn't, and then you started moving, and I was like, oh shit, no, we're okay.
So I have to make a comment.
Looks
Never come out of chat and then go back in again. It usually unfreezes.
Yeah, it unfreezes you. So yeah, have we ever have we? I mean, I've had two really aggressive experiences, but none of them within Truth Beyond Paranormal themselves, luckily. so nobody else had to witness my epic fails with me. So that was good. But yeah, I've talked about them before. You know, I had one where there was a fire that just randomly set alight my whole downstairs, one of my whole downstairs rooms. So that was fun. And for those that have joined and don't know about this experience, basically we were burning some incense in a very small ceramic burner. We turned out the light and blew out the candle to go to sleep. And then halfway through the night, we smelt smoke and we woke up and the whole table was on fire. And we were like, okie dokie, cool, fantastic. That's what we want. We're going to die tonight. That's not good. And we couldn't open any of the doors, even though none of the doors in my house locked on the inside because it was such an old bloody building. So yeah, we couldn't even open the doors to get out. So we were definitely going to die at this point. And so we couldn't even open the back door to get the damn thing outside. So we're like, no, this is not going to go well. I ended up calling to my mother, who didn't hear us. So that went well, didn't it? She didn't hear us and was like dead asleep and was like, I didn't hear a damn thing. So, you know, you guys could have just died and I wouldn't have known. And yeah, and then just as quickly as anything, Mark just picked it up while it was still on fire, put it outside, and then closed the door, went back to bed. And then the next day when we woke up, we were both like, did that really happen? And we both thought we were dreaming. And I was like, no, that was a real experience that we've had. And then we looked outside and there's the burner and it's completely black and cracked down the middle. Our table, which is one of those old tables which has glass over the top of it, had broken under the heat. And during that night, I mean, we were reminiscing. I was telling my mum about it, and that fire literally just engulfed everything. It was all over the freaking carpet. The curtains were in it. Like I said, the whole table was on fire. We were nearly on fire. It was not a good day for us, or a good night. Like, it was just it went all the way up to the ceiling. And I was just thinking to myself, damn, you know, when this is all over, my mom's going to freaking kill me. Like, I wish, I was hoping that I would die from that, because if I survived it, my mom would have killed me had I had survived that. But we were quite lucky, really, because the next day it was like nothing had happened, which was the weirdest part of that experience for me. And Mark, because it didn't look as if anything had actually happened on the inside of the room, so there was no fire damage, and I can't quite explain that. It was just the strangest looking experience I've ever been through. So yeah, I don't quite understand that at all.
I don't think I've had an aggressive experience, to be honest. I think the worst thing I've had is the mannequin dummy being thrown at me.
Yeah, I mean, to be honest though, that's quite a weird experience, because if that literally has just been thrown at you out of nowhere, and that was over the other side of the room, wasn't it, at the time? Yeah, so that was actually literally the other side of the room. I've been to this place with Wayne a couple of times now. We're going back there in July. And yeah, it was, I mean, I've been in a couple of the rooms there, and that would have had to have been trucked at, you know, quite a force to be able to fall onto somebody from across the room, you know?
Yeah, I mean, the mannequin dummies themselves, they're not heavy, but then they're not light either. But to literally be thrown 12, 15 foot across a room straight at me.
Yeah.
To be honest, though, I wouldn't have even said that was scary, but for the investigator that was with me, that scared the living daylights out of her. And so, although
I don't know who Blake is, but it's very nice to have Blake here with us tonight. First time, I think. First user being here, so that's cool.
So it was a bit of a strange experience. Yes, I would have said it was aggressive.
Yeah,
Simply
yeah. Oh,
because on the lead up to that, I had said things like "Das Luftwaffe ist kaputt," which we know for a fact that there is a German pilot, the ghost of a German pilot was held in there. And so by using trigger sounds, we hoped to actually get something. And obviously we got that. So although it would have been, it's classed as aggressive, certainly wasn't scary.
mm.
But obviously was for the other investigator because she left me on my own. So you just have to leave and get on with it.
Yeah,
So,
exactly. So we have one other user. I think this is actually a guy that's
on
coming in
YouTube.
through YouTube called
Yep.
Omega Naru. Why don't we, the
Good evening.
humans, find ghosts mass elements? Do we know what that means? We're all like,
Yeah, I'm not too sure, Omega Naru, exactly what you're asking. Why don't we, the humans, find ghosts mass elements? Or could that mean in mass abundance? Why don't
Yeah,
we see loads of
unless
ghosts?
it's meaning something along the lines of like, why do we as humans never actually find more evidence of the paranormal itself? I don't
Yeah.
know. Omega, if you're still here, if you could try and sort of let us know what you mean by that, that'd be brilliant, and then we'll answer it for you. Was there ever a fire in that room, Sam, that caught fire? Not that I know of, not in our records. We did have a witch that lived in our house at one point. Um, in our attic, there was a load of freaking Bibles up there as well. Very old Bibles, and a lot of them seemed to have a lot of very strange stuff going on around them. So that is a big possibility as well. We did have a little girl that fell down a well that was situated at the bottom of the garden at that time. That was probably a few hundred years ago now, and she fell down that well and died, which is a bit unfortunate. So yeah, I mean, it could be a number of things. Or it could have even been the weird entity that I had that was around me at the time as well. There's so many possibilities with that fire. We did also have something else I think Joe and also Wayne would actually be quite interested in hearing about. And anyone else that's very interested in like the war. So during the Second World War, we had a bomb that went off at the bottom of our road, and it completely annihilated a very old Barclays bank that was there. And yeah, it was just very strange because ever since then, whenever it comes back round to that sort of, the anniversary of that sort of time, we would hear at night time the loud whirring noises of what sounded like planes above, and then the almighty bang that literally sounded like a bomb had gone off further away, and then it happens again, but like it's inside the house. And then the whole house moves, and you wake up thinking, okay, so a juggernaut has come through the front of my house, great. And then you walk outside and there's nothing there. But when I had woken up to go and check whether a juggernaut was actually, in fact, inside my front living room, the other bang then hit, and I literally, no word of a lie, guys, the whole house was just like freaking shaking, and it was as if a bomb had actually gone off inside the house, and or an earthquake. All the house was like shuddering, the windows were going and everything, and that absolutely was the freakiest feeling ever. I eventually went back to sleep, and then the next morning I said to my mum, like, and at this moment in time, we had a lodger as well. And I said to them both, did either of you hear or feel what happened last night? There was this bang, and then my mum said, and then the house shook. And I was like, yeah. And she was like, I didn't hear it, but a couple of weeks ago, me and Paul were here, and we both heard the same thing, and then were woken up by what seemed like an earthquake. And I was like, okay. So that was a bit freaky. So that's another very strange experience that I've had at our old house. It was always at the old house. But yeah, as far as I'm aware, there's not been a fire in that old house. Just a little girl that drowned in a well and a horrible bomb that went off at the bottom of the road. But other than that, I don't think there's been very much else happening there. So yeah, it is a bit unexplainable. Kind of like it's unexplainable, really, as to why we've got so many ghosts in this flat. Like, I don't know where they've all come from. I know kind of I know that Peter, that's not his name. You know what's also weird, Wayne, is I call them all different names at all times. Like I like his name is not Peter. His name's Adam, but I've called him like every name under the sun now. Sorry, Adam.
Yeah, you called him just about everything possible.
Yeah, exactly. So sorry, Adam. So yeah, we know that Adam and his sister have come from the mill, the old paper mill, and also Albert as well. But I don't know where any of the other ones come from. They're just around. They're just here for some reason. So that's interesting. In the forms of dense gaseous state black shades, they have the nature to apply force on objects. To do that, they must possess mass. Their mass elements may not exist in our periodic table. There would be a way to find our periodic elements present on Earth if some researches start on. Is that English?
Right, now I get what Amiga Nero is saying is about the basic elements that compose of our physical being. The problem with that is that if you look at the spirit energy, spirit is energy. It's not hydrogen, nitrogen, oxygen, calcium, etc. It's not the basic elements that we are. You can't really define electricity or energy as a element in that sense. So that is obviously why we go out and we investigate, is to actually determine what it is we're seeing and what it is that people have been talking about for so many thousands of years. I think that's what Amiga Nero is actually saying.
Oh, I get it now. I'm sorry, Omega. It takes me a while to freaking catch up sometimes. And yeah, just slap me. It's fine. Like,
so anyway, before we digress anywhere else, we've got to go back to Nicola, because we've got other comments are coming in, and poor Nicola's got left behind. Nicola says, where is one place that you haven't investigated yet that you would like to investigate? Me personally, I want to do the Queen Mary.
Yeah, I do as well. Like, I'd freaking love to do the Queen Mary. Queen Mary is so cool because it's got so many different reports and loads of different areas whereby it's been made very apparent that it is extremely haunted. I'd love to do there. If you're meaning ones as well for like actual TBP areas that we could actually do, like one of the ones that
realistic locations.
Realistic locations that I do really, really want to do at some point. Whether we do it this year or next, I don't know. I'm thinking of possibly making these guys do it this year. That's a little bit harsh, Sam. Yeah, I may have to go and collect Wayne to do this. But yeah, one of the ones I want to do is actually based in West Sussex, kind of on the outskirts of Surrey. So it's sort of more sort of our end in the London zone than it is into the West Sussex area, but it's on the borders. And it's an actual church, an abandoned church that's situated within a old forest. I've been there and I've done a live there a couple of times beforehand. I've done photo shoots there, but I've never done a paranormal investigation there, and I'd love to do that with the guys at TBP, because we have got a lot of really cool evidence in the past, and I honestly think that there we're going to get something quite interesting, because even when we weren't doing anything paranormal, some of my models reported that they were seeing shadows. One of them actually had captured what looked like somebody's, like a white face that had no features, looking at them through the because we always stay too late on these photo shoots, guys, by the way, but we were there until like 8 o'clock at night one night doing this horror photo shoot, and lo and behold, halfway through the horror photo shoot, a real horrific character actually turned up out of the blue that wasn't meant to be there in the shots, which really creeped out a hell of a lot of our models, and then they wanted to go home. So yeah, we had what looked like a faceless character looking at us through the fields, through the woods. And she captured that because she was just taking a selfie of herself, but then in the background behind her, you see what looks like somebody looking like sort of standing in amongst the trees looking at her. But she said what's the weird thing is that it looked like it was wearing like a hood, like a cape sort of thing. Like a long hooded cape, and she said it was just the freakiest experience that she's ever had, and she said ever since then she's believed that there is something that's around. And she was a skeptic before my photo shoot, of course she was. Take your lovely models on a photo shoot and then end up making them believe in the paranormal. Great job, Sam. Poor them. But it was definitely interesting, and I had a hell of a lot of reports as well from photographers saying that when they got images back home and they edited them, they'd light them up or something on the computer, and then they said that they'd see like orbs or weird shadows in the background that weren't there before, and they were like, okay, cool. We did have a guy come down to come and talk to us about the area. Originally he was mainly coming down to see what the hell we were doing, because we were all dressed up in like these weird costumes, and he found it all a little bit strange. And he said, why are you carrying around a giant fake sword, Sam? Basically, and I'm like, well, just for fun, doing some shooting. And then he said, yeah, okay, cool, well, told us some history of the place, and apparently it used to be a church in sort of 1110. It was a church, and then it went from that to being a schoolhouse after it was a church. Then it burnt down, which is just fabulous, and they didn't rebuild it. So from I think 1816 something, it was no longer an actual building. It was just like the carcass of the building. And then that's where it stayed, and it stayed like that for the rest of that time. But apparently monks, what they call monks, they call themselves monks. I don't think they're monks, but they call themselves that. Go down there and they do a lot of rituals there every single weekend. And they do a lot of like pagan sort of rituals and stuff down there. So a lot of witches go there to do their rituals and stuff still. So they were just making sure, that guy was just making sure that it wasn't them, because apparently he doesn't like those guys. He's basically the guy that looks after the grounds, that came down to come see us to give us all of the information on the place. And yeah, he's like, I don't like those other guys because they do symbols on it, on the floors and on the walls and stuff, and they're doing all this apparent protective rituals. But he said, this is still a site whereby we want to preserve it, and we're not able to do that if they keep writing all over the bloody walls and on the floors. So they weren't.
Well, that is disrespectful, isn't it?
It is disrespectful.
You go in a place.
it's really disrespectful. It's not fair on the guy that's trying to, you know, still keep it going. It's him, his mum, and his dad trying to keep it going within the family. You know, it's like a thing that they've always done throughout the years and since they've lived there. And it's something that they still do now. Yes, there you go, Mandy. I forget. Mandy Louisiana was there. She played our zombie character from Left 4 Dead, the game, on that photo shoot. So yeah, I think Mandy may remember the person that came down to come talk to us as well about the place, and probably will actually be able to confirm for me as well as we're talking here tonight, guys, that there is actually still some cults that go up there and do whatever they do. And it's very interesting because I haven't done anything big there like paranormal, but we did set up a spirit box there, me and Mark. And yeah, we got some quite scary stuff come through the spirit box. Honestly, it was a bit creepy. There was like saying our names and yeah, it's saying our names and like saying things that we were thinking and stuff like that. So that's why I want to go there. I want to go there to be able to, for you guys to be able to witness that with us, because it was something that I've never had happen before, whereby they could basically read your mind. That was a bit strange. Have you guys ever investigated an old prison? No, I have not. I don't know if Wayne has. I'm sure that you probably have, Wayne.
Guess what? No.
No, guess what? No.
Where's that post? Where's that comment?
So there you go. That's Nicola said, have you guys ever investigated an old prison? So neither of us have. So that's pretty cool.
Yeah, I mean, obviously, places like Harrods Redoubt Fort has got a prison block. It consists of 3 cells, but technically, you know, I haven't investigated anywhere like Shepton Mallet or anything like that.
Yeah, so
simply because of the distance.
There is a guy that I know that I'm in contact with at the moment. I'm going to one of his photo shoot days, which is at an old Victorian abandoned school, on the 6th of June. So I'm going to have a talk with him to see whether we can get Truth Beyond Paranormal to be able to go to there at some point next year, and also his prison that he owns as well. Oh, sorry, that was a bit weird. So yeah, I'll see whether it's possible. It can be quite expensive though to rent these sorts of places, and then we've got to get there as well. So it's one of those things whereby if people want us to go and do something like that, it's probably going to take us quite a while to be able to go and do it.
I mean, that is the ongoing issue is with locations. It has to be places really that aren't going to cost us hell and all amount of money to hire the place, and it's not going to cost us an arm and a leg to get to it. And I think that is the biggest issue, because we fund it all out of our own pockets. We don't have any backers that turn around and say, right, okay, well, this location is going to cost you 300 quid. Go for it. Here's the money. You know, it'd be great if we had that.
We don't have anyone backing us, unfortunately, guys.
So what we do is we look at locations that are either 3 or they're cheap enough for us to all put together, put money together, and then we get the locations paid for that way. So of course, when you put say for instance Harrods Redoubt Fort in Essex, although that's only 17 miles down the road from me, it's only going to cost me about 15-16 quid to get down there and back. It's going to cost Sam twice as much, 3 times as much. But then on the flip side of that, we will do a location that's nearer Sam, so it would be, you know, £17 down the road for Sam and Marcus, but it may be 3 times as much for me to get to Sam's or that area. So it sort of evens itself out. We all end up paying up near enough the same amount wherever we go. Plus Marcus drives like a lunatic anyway, so It actually takes
Yeah,
it takes Sam
it
a
actually
box
takes
this
us
time.
half the time. Like when we hopefully go up to go and investigate with Lingy, who's broken his toes, and and Anna, at some point it'll probably only take us about, you know, under half the time it would usually to get to Scotland, because Mark drives like an idiot. So
Well,
it should
maybe
be
you
fun.
can use that jet they're developing. That might only take you 20 minutes then.
Yeah, exactly. Yeah. It's sometimes with Mark, it's like we can fly. I swear to God, it's awful. So Fran, is it okay? I can't say your surname. I'm really sorry, but I'm just going to say Fran. In your experiences, are demons real?
Nah.
They can be. So yes, I would say, are demons real? Yes, they can. We said this a little bit earlier. You have to really go some to find yourself a demon. It's very, very rare, extremely rare to find yourself a real demon. And again, this is another thing which I would love for, like, say yourself, Fran, if you want to come and see our live that we're doing next week on Tuesday night with who we call Lingy, Peter Ling. He's an actual demonologist, so he'll be able to actually give you a much better detail on this than me. But from my personal experience, I have had a very negative entity that's been around me. I would not classify it as a demon. And honestly, it was probably one of the worst and most scariest experiences for me personally, because they do tend to like to sort of manipulate what you do. They like to manipulate your life, and you don't even realize it's actually happening until it's too late. Manipulate your mind, your you know, your emotions as well, to believe that you're actually feeling something that is probably not even there, which is just fabulous. That's what you want. So yeah, and I got that all from being extremely unwell and opening myself up too much to entities when I probably shouldn't have done. I didn't have enough not knowledge, enough sort of power to be able to get rid of whatever was around me at the time. And I kept opening myself up to things which I shouldn't have done. And it took Peter Ling and Anna to be able to help me out with that. So I believe that there are really dark entities out there, but for you to be able to come across an actual demon, especially ones that are going to possess you, for instance, you know, that then would need like what they call a, you know, oh god, what do they call it, an exorcism. There you go, get it out, Sam, you can do it. I wouldn't say that you will. Oh, good night, Nicola. It's lovely to see you again. Hopefully see you again on Tuesday or on Saturday, because I know that Wayne's going to be doing another live on Saturday, so we'll hope to see you then. But yeah, it's like I said, it's really difficult to find yourself a demon. I'm not saying that as in you should go and find yourself a demon, by the way. Don't do that. That's a stupid idea.
Yeah, they sell them in Tesco's.
Yeah, cheap rip-off £1 demon from your Poundland store. Let's not go there. But yeah, it's one of those things whereby you would have to personally conjure something yourself, whether it be through a board, a Ouija board, or, you know, you would have to physically think in your head, in your mind, spiritually as well, 100% believe that that is what you want. And you're going to have to really go some to be able to make that happen. If you believe in what the spiritualists call the law of attraction, it's something that is such a big thing that can, you know, it does work, but it's sometimes very difficult to have it work for you, because you have to really, really freaking try hard and believe in it so wholeheartedly, as well. And that's not always easy when you're a human. You're like, I don't really feel it. But with something like a demonic possession, if you wanted to find a demon, for instance, you know, somebody's really going well out their way to try and find a demon, and then they're using a spirit board, for instance, or even a spirit box, and in there, you know, they're putting it out there into the ether all the time that is what they want to find, that's what they want to do, that's what they want to happen. Usually it will happen, because the law of attraction is giving it to them, because it is what you're spiritually trying to find for yourself. And that's a lot of the time, you know, I say that to people a lot when they come in and they do my spiritual circles with me, when I'm teaching them things, and I'm saying, you know, you're blaming a hell of a lot of everyone else around you. You're blaming everybody else for the fact that you are, you know, negative, but you are actually bringing that onto yourself, because all that you're searching for is negative. You know, law of attraction is something that I believe in wholeheartedly. And if you go well out of your way to, you know, say something negative, you know, say you say something positive about yourself, and then like a moment later you put yourself down, that is law of attraction. You're attracting that to yourself. So you're, you know, basically hindering your positivity. And I believe that law of attraction can also bring other entities in as well. So, you know, if somebody is just really wanting to find themselves a demon, it's very possible you're going to find one, because once you put it out there, they will then tap into that and say, hey, this person is looking for me. And then you'll find it. And they'll be like, hello, I am your friendly demon coming to collect your soul. No, they won't do that unless you seriously want to go down that path. But yeah, exactly, Fran. Manifestations. If you want to manifest something in your life, you can. It just takes a hell of a lot of power and a lot of willpower as well to be able to do something like that. And sometimes it can take freaking ages. It can take years, you know, to be able to do that. I haven't manifested jack yet. I've tried. I've tried for many years. But, you know, my husband, for instance, you know, he does a lot of meditation, a lot of astral projection as well through meditation. And he's still learning that at the moment. And yeah, a lot of the things that he says is going to happen does, because that's what he's believing in and that's what he wants to happen, and it comes to him. So, you know, and yeah, he says it may take weeks, it may take months, but at some point it's going to happen. Although, as Wayne knows very well, Mark has been trying to do that with money for a very long time, and that's so funny. Realize for him, bless him. We'll get there at some point. But yeah, you know, Fran, it's very possible that you can conjure anything that you possibly, you know, want. And it's one of the things that I would love to talk about a little bit more in the future, is to talk about the law of attraction. And to sort of give you guys a little bit of lessons on how to be able to use that to the best of its ability, and to also heal yourselves as well. Like if you've got ailments or you've got any problems personally within your life, you can use this tool to be able to manifest whatever you want. Like I said, there's a hell of a lot of there's a hell of a lot of willpower needed in it, so it doesn't always work straight away, so you got to be patient with it. But yeah, it is possible that you can conjure stuff that you don't in particularly want. Do I believe that demons exist? Yes. Do I believe they're everywhere all at once? No. You know, it's the same as believing in God in a way, and the devil. I don't believe in either of them, and I'm sorry to anybody that's Christian that listens or looks at this, but I don't believe that either of those exist, or heaven and hell. I believe heaven and hell is what you make it. That, you know, heaven and hell could be on this planet right now with us. It doesn't have to be its own separate entity. But it will, Sam. Mark, conjuring money coming in, but I don't think it will be just given. Yes, I agree with that. It isn't just given. You've really got to work at things in life. Things will never just be given to you on a plate. If you don't go searching for something, you're never going to find what you're looking for. And yeah, that's certainly something which I agree with there, Joe. You can't just sit around waiting for things to happen. You got to go find them. So, Yeah, I agree. Maybe it will happen at some point for Mark because, you know, bless him, he's been waiting on that a while.
Thing is, I mean,
Uh,
I personally don't believe in demons.
no, you see, we're all different as well. Wayne doesn't believe in demonic entities at all whatsoever, so he doesn't
Well,
believe
no,
that.
no, no. It's how you categorize demonic and demons. I don't. You know, as far as I'm concerned, there are no demons or any demonic form. I personally think are a manifestation of the churches.
Yeah, I agree. I can agree with
Okay.
you on that. Yeah,
When you look at the terminology of a demon or a demonic forces, it all goes back to the Bible.
yeah,
Personally, I think what people class as a demonic entity or a demonic force is just a nasty spirit, a nasty ghost, something
it's a
that is
naughty boy
unsettled.
again.
Yeah, is a naughty boy. It
It's a
doesn't
naughty
like
boy.
being dead, and therefore it causes chaos, i.e., a poltergeist. A
Yeah,
poltergeist
I
is a noisy or mischievous spirit. So you take the American side of things, and I don't want to be offensive to Americans, but when you look at the American paranormal shows, anything that is thrown at any of the crew members, it's a demon.
it's a
It's
demon. Yeah,
demonic.
yeah,
You
I
know,
agree.
the American paranormal programs love demons.
Demon. Yeah. Well,
So
it's a lot
why
more.
isn't it a poltergeist? It's a noisy spirit. It's unsettled. It wants to make you know it's there. So therefore, it's
Yeah,
a poltergeist. But they label it as a demon. And I just think it's a nasty spirit. It's a ghost that doesn't want you there. So it wants you out and gets labeled demon as a result.
I agree. I do completely agree with that. Yeah, I feel the ones that we see most on TV, especially, you know, the ones like I said earlier in America, everybody on these paranormal groups, if they're American, they're like, you know, they're always talking about demons. Always, always. What is
Yeah.
it with your obsession? Why do you have an obsession with demons? Why do you want to have that?
Yeah, but this is what I mean. And sorry,
Apologies
Joe, I know you. It says here, hence why I asked the question before. Define a demon,
Joe. I may have missed that one. I'm sorry
because
about that.
that's how I define it. Ooh, that's how I define a
Hello.
demon. A demon is a horrible spirit.
Yeah, exactly. And I believe, yeah, I can say that I can believe in that as well. You know, I can understand that from where Wayne's coming from in that perspective, because I mean, I myself, when I did house cleansing, one of them in particular, she said point blank, she swore down it was a demonic possession. And I said, no, I said, it's not demonic. It just like Wayne said, it just wants to be heard. It's getting extremely angry with the fact that it's trying to communicate with you all the time. And it's even coming in your dreams. It's even coming through in your art. So basically, I'll tell you a little bit about this just so then, like, it's a bit of a strange experience I had. I will admit it was a bit crazy. But I was called by a member of a band that I knew, who was a skeptic, that said, hey, my girlfriend, her house is definitely possessed or has a problem. Has a problem. We've got a little bit of a problem with this. Come help us out. So I went over there with my friend Liz, who was a little bit worried at the time, didn't really want to go inside. But yeah, we turned up, and when we got inside, things were being thrown around. There, you know, cupboard doors were opening, windows opening and shutting on their own, even doors opening and closing, things you know, like water turning on, toilets flushing on their own, things like that. And I knew a guy who was a demonologist who claimed that he was able to get rid of nasty entities and spirits. For some reason, I just have a feeling that Mark is probably going to step in the door at some point because my cats are going crazy. Sorry, that's why my face was just like, what? But yeah, it was a weird experience because when we got there, I got there, like I said, there was a guy that I knew, and I threatened them with this guy coming over. So I threatened the spirits with this guy coming over to get rid of them. And as soon as I said that, all of the lights went out. Then we heard loads of smashing, and we were like, "What the hell?" And I wasn't expecting it to be that active. So I was quite taken back. And when all the lights came back on again, what we'd realized is that it had actually smashed a load of the windows in the house downstairs. So she was not best pleased with me. What have you done? Oh my God, my house. Yeah, and I was like, sorry. This is what happens. I was not expecting that it was going to be that intense. So I told them to shut me in the room with it, with the lights off, because I said that's the only way it's going to come out, is if I'm on my own and I'm in this room on my own in the dark. That's the only way it's going to come and face me. So they did that. They thought I was freaking insane, which I was. Probably a bit silly, really, of me to do that now that I think about it. But I did it, and you know, I'm still here. I'm alive. I'm okay. I didn't die, so that's a good sign. But I literally would just call the thing out, you know, listen to it, and that's all it wanted. At the end of the day, Wayne is completely right. You know, I listened to it. Yes, it was angry at first. It was, you know, it was throwing some things around in the room. And then as soon as I said, right, I'm here now, what do you want? Instead of throwing stuff at me and instead of getting angry, instead of being a petulant child, I said as well at one point, that probably didn't help. But I said, instead of being a petulant child, just sit down somewhere in this room, come and talk to me. And things settled down, and yeah, it just seemed I got some messages come through to me, because I do psychic mediumship as well. Some things came through to me and I talked to it, and then it was as if something lifted. And the girl who said that she was possessed by this entity said that she literally felt like a completely different person after that. After I'd left the house, she felt like there was nothing around her anymore. There was nothing being thrown. There was nothing being moved around. Because she had in her bedroom, there was two sides of her room, and she had one bed that she would sleep in if she felt bad, what she called bad, and one bed that she slept in if she felt good. And it was like a complete split between two worlds, because she was an artist, and on one side of the room all of her art was this disgusting creature looking scary demonic stuff, and then on the other side it was all sort of fairies and elves and, you know, brightly colored unicorns and stuff like that. So she had like a complete split in her bedroom. And when the thing wasn't around, she'd sleep on the right side where all of the good paintings were. And when she had her bad days, she'd sleep on, when she was depressed and stuff, she'd sleep on the left side. And that's what, kind of going back to what Fran was talking about earlier, that is what spirits do. They can manipulate your emotions. They can manipulate you to make you believe that it's you when it's not. It's them. Probably, you know, they're coming in and being like, I'm pissed off, I'm upset, I'm angry, and I want, you know, and they're putting all of it on you, and they're kind of living their life through you. With all
the
those
thing
emotions.
is as well is we have to bear in mind that the human psyche as well is a very complicated thing, and it does have a habit of overthinking. And the problem then is if the human mind overthinks, anything is possible, because what is behind our minds when we start thinking, when we start dreaming, it's partly our imagination. Our imagination takes over, and when we dream, anything is possible. We can fly, we can breathe and swim underwater without needing oxygen. You know, we can travel into space just by one can of baked beans. You know, stupid things that in reality cannot happen in our dreams can happen. And sometimes that can take manifestation in real life. because like your friend, she was an artist, and it's like me with my writing of my books. I write ghost stories or paranormal stories, but I'm now also venturing or going to start looking into doing children's books as well. But I can't write them as Wayne Seaton. I've got to write them as somebody else, simply because I can't have my paranormal books under Wayne Seaton being put in the same category as Wayne Seaton, writer of children's books.
Yeah, that makes sense.
It's not going to work. So you've got that flip side. You've got the ability to write a ghost story or a good horror story, which would scare the living daylights out of most people if they were to watch it on TV or read it. But then on the other side, you've got this one where it's a cat that needs to exercise. So he goes on a diet. You know, it's a completely different thing. And you've got that imagination that's there. And if that manifests itself in the real world, people look at it and go, oh my God, are you possessed or something? And it's a play of words. You know, you could turn around and go, my God, that bloke's a lunatic. Is he possessed or something? Well, you've said that one word that gets that other person labelled they're possessed. And anybody else that hears that and takes it the wrong way might go, do you know what? They might be right. But it's not. It's just this extrovert of that person has just come out, which has made them different to what they normally are. And it's how that imagination manifests itself.
I agree. Okay, so possessions are not real. That's what Fran said.
I don't think they are. I don't think possessions are real, as to say. It's quite possible, and I won't be quoted on it. I could have a little theory behind it and say, well, we all know schizophrenia or split personality disorder creates another person. And if you've got a split personality, in a lot of cases, one personality doesn't know the other personality exists. In some cases, they do. But if one of those people doesn't know that other person in that split personality exists, they would automatically think they're possessed. If nobody, or if everybody that looks after that individual sees this manifestation and doesn't realize it's split personality, they would also think that person is possessed. So when you look at things like, I was going to say The Exorcist, but that's a stupid example because it was witnessed by loads of other people as far as the story is concerned. But when the girl first gets possessed, could she have been showing signs of split personality? And the mother didn't realise that until she got to the point where she thought she was possessed. So she calls in the vicar. You see, when you look at possession, you've also got to look at other things like schizophrenia and split personality disorder, because they could be part and parcel of it.
Yeah.
So possession is a very wicked word.
So Louise as well has said, do you believe in past lives in dreams? Sometimes I'm male with a family, which I find strange.
Yep.
Yeah, you can definitely have past lives in dreams, especially. I mean, I do a hell of a lot of past life stuff with people, especially if I'm doing healing. If I do a lot of healing, sometimes things like that just come through to me without me even asking them to. If I have a message that comes to me that says about a past life, which I feel may connect to the reason as to why somebody has a certain ailment, I will tell them about it, even if it seems really weird and seems like I may possibly get judged for the fact that I'm telling them about past life that they don't know anything about. I'll still tell them, because it may connect to them and they may feel a sense of relief that they know that they're not going crazy. But yeah, past lives in dreams is kind of a little bit like an out-of-body experience for some people. I don't know if that's kind of what you feel sometimes, Louise, with it. It's kind of like a lot of people have said, you know, it's kind of like the soul sort of travels back in time, and shows you yourself as you used to be, with the individuals that used to be around you back in that time, or even, you know, the sort of emotions that you would feel back then. And I know a lot of people sometimes can't come out of those dreams and felt a sense of being disconnected from this world because of it, because they're still trapped in that world. And a lot of people have found that that has kind of caused them some problems and everything in the past, especially spiritually, mentally, and physically. So yeah, astral projection, like you said, Fran, that's something which my husband is very well versed in. He knows a lot about it and is training in it a bit more now. And yeah, astral projection and past lives, they're two separate things, because usually with astral projection you can find yourself going to other realms, and other worlds, through the veil, which a lot of the time with past lives you don't do. With a past life you would never go and see, say, an angel being, while with astral projection it's very possible that you could do something like that, because it kind of takes you beyond the veil with astral projection. Out of body experience, kind of very similar to a near-death experience. But with past lives, it's kind of more like, it's kind of like a jump in time. And that's where, you know, things become a little bit kind of strange for some people. Yeah, astral projection is a little bit different, but past lives are definitely an interesting one, that is for certain, because you can go back in time to yourself being a Native American in, you know, a place where you've never ever been before, but you can see it, hear it, sense it, and it can sometimes be a bit off-putting for some people, because they just find it a little bit strange, because they don't know how to sort of get their head around it. So if anybody ever wants any help with anything like that, just let me know, because I do a lot of that.
I mean, I've had that myself with the spirit that I had at my sister's property.
Oh yeah.
Basically, she had an entity there. Something was at my sister's house. I have mentioned this before. When I first moved in there, things were being moved about. Things were being put in different places, and I hadn't got a clue where they were. And then I'd find them again. I had lodgers move in. They said strange things were going on when I wasn't there. And even when I was there, things were going on that shouldn't have been happening. And it all got a bit weird. And in the end, I contacted this psychic medium. She lived about 20 miles away. She didn't want to know any details about me. She just knew my name and that was it. We agreed I would meet her at a neutral location and then take her to the house. When we got there, she walked in through the back door and within minutes, she said, Joanne Bloomfield. And I hadn't got a clue what she was talking about, but eventually she said, that's the spirit that's here. By the time she'd finished, it turned out this spirit, Joanne Bloomfield, she lived there. I think it was 1939 or something. It was during the World War II. Her husband was a soldier in the British Expeditionary Force in Dunkirk. He's by the name of Michael, and he died in evacuation. She died a year later. And I said, so what is the link? Why is she still here? And she said, the lady said, you know, she lived here with her husband. And I said, well, why is she still here? And she said, well, she's waiting for you.
Oh,
and I said, well, what have I got to do with anything? She went, you're Michael. She said, you're Michael.
Oh.
And I'm like, excuse me? She said, you are Michael. You were Michael. and she's been waiting for you. And it just freaked me out, something chronic. And obviously, once she'd left, I was actually quite at ease with myself and quite at ease with the situation. And I had to check it out with the Hall of Records just to confirm that what this lady had said was correct. And sure enough, it took a bit of finding, but I managed to find who owned that house in the 30s, and he did die during the evacuation of the Dunkirk beaches, and she died a year later.
Yeah,
and it was really freaky. And since then, we've moved twice, and she's followed us to both places.
yeah, we've had a couple of experiences with Joanne ourselves.
So,
when I've been around at Wayne's and just suddenly something will open or something will move or whatever, and he's like, "Oh yeah, that's just Joanne making herself known," and I'm like, "Cool, hi."
so I'm a very firm believer in past lives,
yeah,
and past life regression, simply because I've experienced it myself firsthand, and it is so bizarre, but it, in a sense, has felt so right.
Yeah, thank you for saying that, because I was just about to say, sometimes if you have a past life regression and you're trying to figure out who you are, in a sense, if you feel like there's a part of you or there's something about you that maybe just doesn't feel quite right still in this lifetime, and then you have a past life regression, a lot of the time you will feel like once you understand that past life, you then start to sort of feel more at ease within yourself. You feel that a part of you is more connected. And it does definitely help a lot of people, which is why I have done it in the past. I had one lady called Kerry, and she's actually on my dad's side. I don't know what the hell she is to me, because it's just all a little bit complicated, to be fair. But I just call her Kerry. And she asked me to do a reading for her, and it turns out that she is a Native American, or was a Native American, and that all of her family had unfortunately perished in a fire. And she just, I just came out with it, and she started bawling her eyes out, and I was like, "What's wrong?" Like, I'm sorry, I didn't mean to upset you. Shit, whoops. And I was like, "Oh dear." And then she said, "No," she said, "Sam, this is just so spot on, because my family," she said, "I've known for years that my family now is not meant to be the family that that I should have." She said, "And it's always destroyed me, because," she said, "I feel like I've left behind all of the people which I originate from." And she said, "And now I'm here in this life, and I don't feel like I connect well with my natural family that I have here now in this time." And she said, and one of her daughters as well. I said, "Well, your daughter's she's very special, this in particular daughter of hers." And I said, "But one of your daughters is Native American." And she said, "Yes, I know she is." She said, "She's actually my daughter from back in that time." And I said, "Well," I said, that is a part of your connection there. So, it's kind of like she's came back to be with her mum in this time, so then she can feel better connected within herself, which is a really beautiful thing. And we talked about her spirit guide, who she had, like a big Native American chief, and she said, "That's my dad." Like, I described it to her, and she said, "That was my dad from back then, and I've seen him in my dreams since I was so young, and that I can remember." And she said, "That is definitely him, and he was a Native American chief." And I was just like, "Okay, cool. Well, he's your spirit guide." And it's just being able to do those sorts of things for people, which has made me feel very, good, I guess, in a sense. It's a good thing. It makes you feel like you're doing good for people, and I enjoy that. You know, I like to be able to help people, and that's why I do what I do. So it's just kind of nice, you know, to be able to help people in that way. Yeah, I have done readings and been spot on, and the people have been upset, but not for a bad reason, and they said it helped them. Exactly. Yeah, I had when I did my first ever, it was actually my last ever as well. I need to do it again at some point, but I did a big spiritual circle um, for a psychic mediumship circle and a healing circle. And we sat down. It was with a bunch of Eastern European men and women who, by the way, they're all really interested in this. You know, dates back right to the Viking years, and they all had what they called a seer, who was their like native sort of village psychic, and it's gone from there really. And they still believe in it all, even now, and they're all very spiritual. And they all came to me and sat in a circle, and we grounded ourselves and, you know, did the usual stuff that we always have to do to protect ourselves. And then I just sat down and instantly was looking around the room, around all the people that were sitting with me. There was about 10 of them in total, and I picked out 2 people in particular out of those 10, and I said, you guys are not meant to be sitting far away from each other. And I said, but why are you sitting far away from each other? I said that there's an amount of tension. Oh, good night, Facebook user. I said there's an amount of tension at the moment.
Maybe.
Is that Lou or Reg? Or both? It's probably both, or all 3.
Yeah, it's probably Reg, Stu, or Lou. One of the 2.
Yeah,
3.
all
Even.
of them. Yeah. But yeah, and it was just a weird experience because I knew instantly that there was a connection between 2 people there that had been broken. And I said, you know, you guys are not sitting together. Why are you not sitting together? I said, it's like there's this tension around you both that shouldn't be. And then it turns out that they had actually been divorced like a couple of days beforehand. So that was a very strange experience.
Yeah, I mean, I do think there is definitely something in the likes of.
Hello, Mark.
Are you still alive?
Yeah.
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 Yeah, we said we're only going to be on for an hour. Only 2.5 hours later, you know.
Yeah, we're still here.
How much battery do you have?
I have some battery.
How much?
I don't know, half.
Okay, unplug it.
I'm unplugging it. So Mark is now in the building.
Hey, Mark.
Hey, so here's a weird story.
I can't get off the floor
Move,
now.
cat.
I can't get off. I'm literally like all of my legs are dead.
Go turn the light on.
All of my legs. How many legs do I have, by the way?
It's because you're an octopus.
Yeah. Oh.
Right, so here's a funny story.
Is it a funny story, or is it gonna? Oh, shin splints.
It's more of a creepy story. Hi, Joe Mac. Okay. Hi, Mandy Louise. Mandy more than Joe. You spelt my name wrong. Anyway. Right, so.
It's always perfect when Mark just comes in and hijacks my live feed. It's the best part of the night, I think, for everyone.
Shush. Right, so here's an interesting story.
Wow.
When I was 6, my mother had bacterial meningitis or bacterial meningitis. Thank you, Mandy. That's better. Anyway, so my father, who, God bless him, we weren't very close when I was younger, but we've become really good friends now. He's a wonderful man, a wonderful person, and a great friend. Clueless father, absolutely clueless. Had no idea what to do. So anyway, so one night, when my mum's lying in bed after 2 weeks, my father forgets where all the stuff in the kitchen is. And he said, well, I haven't done any shopping. I'll have to make us baked beans, which I'm 6 years old. I don't care. Baked beans sounds great to me. So he doesn't know where the beans are. So I went upstairs to ask my mother, Mum, where are the beans? And I walked into her room and she's comatose, lying on the bed. And I where's my hand? I pat her very gently on the shoulder, and I asked her, Mum, where are the beans? Where are the baked beans? And she turned to me and she told me exactly where the baked beans were. She told me what temperature to put the hob on at. She told me some things. Like, it only took a few seconds. And then I said thank you, and I went back downstairs to instruct my father how to find and cook baked beans. Now here's the interesting thing, which is I'm talking about it here because it's a paranormal platform, and I was asked a few questions last week about like delving into the spirit, more like personally to ourselves, delving into the spirit and what soul is and that sort of thing. So my mum said to me, we were talking about it a few weeks ago, and she said to me that she was actually in a coma. And she told me this after she met with a guy at her local golf course who was talking about when he had it. And she said, yes, I also had it. And here's the scary thing. Sorry, this has dragged on a bit, but here's the creepy thing. My mum is profoundly deaf, like absolutely cannot hear a damn thing. She does wear a hearing aid, but she never, not just when she's ill, just generally, she never wears her hearing aid in bed. So we're talking about it, and I thought back to that night, back to when I went upstairs as a 6-year-old boy, tapped her on the shoulder, asked her about the beans, and she had a little conversation with me. Now I'm going to pass you back to Sam, but I leave you with this thought. How did she hear me? Not just because she was in a coma, but she's also deaf, profoundly deaf. Her ears do not work. How did she hear me? I leave that riddle.
Okay, thanks, Mark. Wow. And now you've just got me chewing away on my biscuits.
You like chewing on a biscuit.
Sounds wrong.
But so yeah.
Yeah.
There you go.
Yeah, what do you guys think of that? I mean, that is a bit weird.
Anyway,
that is weird.
Apart from that, what we're talking about?
No, we've been talking about past lives. We've been talking about astral projection. We've been talking about whether demonic possession and demons are real, whether heaven and hell is real.
Well, do you know,
we talked about UFOs.
I think that things like demonic possession, I think that they happen every day on different scales. Because I've told you before, when I'm in certain places and I get into this
Gamer Bro 56. Hello, Gamer Bro 56. It's lovely to have you from YouTube.
Is that your real name?
No. Is that your real name? Oh God.
Went to all the special effort of putting Gamer Pro on his birth certificate.
I like it. I think it's cool. I think it's very modern.
I think he came in and then literally just left again. Like, I don't know.
Can't blame him. So, sometimes,
unless you're still there, in which case, Gamer Bro, thank you very much.
You know, sometimes I'm telling you about when I just get this urge and I feel down or I feel depressed or I just get angry out of nowhere for no good reason. And it's so hard to fight that negative feeling because I think it's naturally, it's so much easier for a human to sink into negativity than it is for us to be positive. Like, if something bad happens, you're in a bad mood, most of us always see the worst. We were
talking about law of attraction earlier, and I was saying as well that, you know, whatever, if you've got negativity in your head at all times, that is what you're going to manifest. You know,
I don't have negativity, I just have anger, uncontrollable rage, and you know what, I'm happy with that. Absolutely
I'm happy with it.
I'm happy with it. I think it's a great thing. It motivates me to get out of bed in the morning and kick some ass. That's why I'm so great at my job. Get into the office, start telling people what's what. Do you know why? Do Do you know why? And do you know why they do what I'm saying? Because and listen to me. Because I'm angry. I'm very angry. If I was a superhero, I'd be the Incredible Hulk. I'm always angry.
Mark smash. Like, you're a really small Hulk. I'm sorry. He's looking at me now like I
Hulk smash.
Oh, God.
Hulk smash.
Right, go into the loo. Enjoy yourself.
Okay, I'm going to the loo. Enjoy yourself. What am I going to do in that time? Although I say, what am I going to do in that time? But Mark literally like spends about an hour and a half in the toilet.
It's Mark.
Did you hear that?
Yeah, see you in a week's time.
See you tomorrow. Oh God, I'm sorry, guys. Oh,
But
you can always like say that when Mark returns home, he's always going to do some weird shit that we don't expect. Well, I did like the story about his mum, and he has told me that before, and his mum confirmed that she's like, there's no possible way that I'd be able to ever hear what he was saying. Because she said, she said, what makes her really depressed and down all the time because of her, you know, like not being able to hear is she doesn't know how any of us sound in her family. She doesn't know how any of us actually really sound. So it makes her really down and depressed because she's like, I will never be able to hear your voices and what you guys actually sound like. And when she put that into perspective for me, I was like, oh, wow, yeah, that's quite serious. But yeah, for her to be able to actually hear him and respond is just really weird.
yeah, I would agree with that.
Yeah.
No,
So it's one of those things where you think about afterwards and you think, what? Like, didn't quite think this through. Like, here I am just talking to you like nothing's happened and actually you're deaf. Like, how can you hear me?
In a way, it's a bit of an alarm bell, isn't it? Because you're sitting there going, well, hang on a minute, she's deaf, so how is she able to hear us?
Yeah, it's really weird. Very weird situation.
Technically, is something that don't really make much sense, and yet it does.
It's quite cool, though. Very cool that she was able to hear him for that moment in time.
Yeah.
So Mandy has actually asked as well, I know there are white witches out there, but are there dark witches?
Yeah.
I mean, white witches, it's like one of those things with Wicca, like if you go into the Wicca side, again, law of attraction is another thing that is a big thing with Wicca and white witches and, you know, the occult and everything. You have to use the natural law of attraction to be able to manifest what you want within that situation. You can't half-ass anything within magic, if you get what I mean. And when you're casting what they call a spell, I've never done it, so I don't know 100% myself. But if you ask next week Anna, who does do some white magic stuff, she will be able to tell you that you need a lot of the power of manifestation to be able to make it work the way that you want it to. Because if you don't have that and you don't believe in what you're putting out there, then unfortunately it's not going to work and it could backfire on you and could go horrifically wrong. So yeah, it is possible that there is black magic out there. Like I say, I've never actually done anything like that myself, but it is very possible that you can do white and black magic, but you have to be able to have the amount of expertise to be able to do it properly, because like I said, otherwise it can come back on you and it can go horrifically. So
yeah, I think basically you've got black magic, white magic. You know, it's very similar to having the yin and yang situation.
yeah, very much so.
You've got to have the light with the dark, and you've got to have the dark with the light. You know, it's going to swing both ways.
I agree completely.
You know, you can't. It's difficult because you've got to have good magic and bad magic combined.
Yeah, you've got to have light for there to be dark. You've got to have dark for there to be light. So
Yeah,
Wayne is correct in that instance that you have to have both to be able for it to work. Because otherwise, again, it won't work properly. So,
it is literally.
There are witches.
You have to look at the yin the yin yang. You know, where there's dark, there is light. Where there's light, there's dark. You've got to have a bit of both.
Agreed.
It's one of those things. You can't, you know, it's light and dark, good and evil. If you're going to have bad magic, you've got to have good magic. And if you have dark magic, you've got to have light magic.
Exactly.
You know, I mean, again, it's a play of words. It's how do you define it? You know, if you have a witch that does or uses herbal magic to help cure somebody, you also have a witch that may want to harm somebody by using herbal magic. So therefore, you've got good magic, bad magic, light magic, dark magic. It's a play of words. It's how you describe it.
People always say as well, don't they, that like voodoo is dark magic, but yet they have voodoo dolls to protect people as well. So it's not always black and white. But yeah, it's not. Voodoo dolls, you know, throughout history have been known that for their dark magic side only. But a lot of voodoo dolls, I've got a couple myself, and they're called worry people, which comes from India. And worry people are said to be put under your pillow at night, or held when children are sleeping. And you give them your worries, you tell them your worries before you sleep, and they're meant to take away your worries and heal them. And I've used them quite a few times, and honestly, yeah, I believe that they work. But again, it can be law of attraction. You know, again, if you believe in something enough, you can make it happen. You're manifesting that. So whether it's, I mean, you know, my mum has always said, whether you believe in Reiki working or not, as long as it works, does it matter? If you know, does it matter if it's real or not? If you're believing in that it is going to work for you, and that has enabled you to be able to feel well, then why does it matter if it's real or it isn't? I believe wholeheartedly in the Reiki treatments and the stuff that my mother does, mainly because of the fact that during a lot of the time where she was doing it, I didn't believe for a damn moment that it was going to work for me, because I was so depressed and down that I thought it wasn't going to work. So when it did, you know, then again, there is another aspect to it where you just think, okay, well, is that real? You know, because I've just had a healing experience where I've seen like a freaking angel come down before me in my mind's eye, and, you know, I open my eyes and it's still there. Okay, cool. What's that about? Like, I can't put anything else on that. I don't know where that's come from. So it's a very strange experience for me, because I believed at that point that nothing could work for me, and then I felt better afterwards, you know. So yeah, women's got power that I didn't expect. So it comes down to intention. Sometimes it can come down to intention. If you believe in something enough, it can happen. With things like the paranormal, though, as Wayne knows, we can literally, it doesn't matter how many times that we say, please can you kill yourself? Sometimes it will just never happen. So it's not always, it's when it comes down to the paranormal side, if we're looking and hunting for the paranormal, it doesn't, the power of the mind doesn't always work for that, unfortunately for us.
Right, I'm going to have to sign off.
Yep, I agree. I think
it is
we've done enough
past
for tonight.
midnight, and
Yeah.
I might be in trouble.
Oh dear. Yeah, I think it's one of those things we weren't going.
Overrun.
We're amazed that we've actually got this far tonight. So I think that we are definitely going to sign off for tonight. But Mandy, I'll write down your question and we will talk about it first thing next time that we all come together
Yeah, definitely.
again.
Yeah.
So I'll write that down and I'll answer it for you next week on Saturday when we do our next one.
Yeah.
I have to hop off. This really has been an amazing live. Thank you all so very much. No, thank you, Fran, for coming and joining us tonight. Come and join us on Saturday as well, where we talk about cryptozoology. It's going to be a good one. So I will see you guys real soon. And thank you very much for tuning in again to Truth Beyond Paranormal with me and Wayne Seaton here, our presenter of Truth Beyond Paranormal, and we will see you again on Saturday and next week. Thank you guys for watching, and sorry for the failures earlier. It's bound to happen. It's a Truth Beyond Paranormal thing now, I think. But yeah, we'll see you soon, guys. We'll see you on Saturday night as well. Thank you. That's us signing out for tonight. Thank you again, and see you soon. Bye-bye.
Good night, guys.
Night-night.